We are live. It is 3:05 Central Standard Time in the United States, 9:05 GMT in the UK. This is the Nomad Tech Project with Sam and Joe.
Hey.
Coming to you live this, fifth day? Holy cow, fifth day.
Yeah. Happy New Year,
January. Sam. Happy New Year, my friend. Welcome to 2025. I will tell you that 2024 went by pretty quickly. Here in the U.S., I'm sure around the world. So folks, we like I said, we missed the 29th show. We were and just family stuff, right, and that kind of thing. And also, hopefully, you did catch the Tech Disruptors. Hopefully, you were all watching their year-end show. They all dressed up. They actually wore suits and ties and stuff. So I think that's interesting because that was something you will never see on this show. We are not doing that. At least I'm not doing that ever. I do have a shirt and a tie and a jacket and all that kind of stuff and a suit, but we're not wearing that for this show because, we're just not doing that. And if you've noticed, you'll see my background is different. So what happened was my daughter moved back in because of a situation. So she's actually like staying at mom's and in my house. We're kind of doing this whole hybrid thing. So I had to move, of course, for now the fourth or fifth time, I had to move back upstairs to the bedroom-ish location. Although this time around, I'm facing this. Well, people don't know my the bedroom situation. So anyway, so instead of facing that way, like towards this, and had the light towards me, I'm kind of facing the TV and the couch situation. So the light's coming from here as opposed to from my back. Mm-hmm. So anyway, if you notice that I have the shelf up here because
there's a couple of observations. I like the blue background. I quite like that. And the shelf.
That's the color. So that blue background you see, that's actually across all of our bedroom, because our bedroom is kind of like, so if everybody can see. So the bedroom's kind of over there.
Mm.
So
okay.
Yeah, and so the reason why you see that big pile on top of that chest of drawers there is because my dogs will eat and destroy the blankets and the pillows. So we have to put them up there when we don't have the bed empty. So as you see, the bed's empty, right? It's a king size bed, but there's no blankets on it because the dogs will destroy them. And
is this a loft space?
It's like a loft, yeah. So
yeah, nice.
So I put the curtain up, as you can see, that kind of just blocks off the light. Really, it's nothing. I mean, it's not like a solid. It wasn't block sound or anything. And then there's the stairs that go to my basement. And then you'll see that blue on that wall, like this far wall over onto the left, it's darker. It's an accent wall. So that's why you see.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
So it's the blue is everywhere, but this wall. And then, of course, if you notice, there is my couch with my moot. There is Kona with her with her Boston Army of Doom hoodie. She has a hoodie.
Nice.
So the couch, little love seat faces that way, and the TV, and there's some more shelving with some more stuff. Of course, my wife has left her food and then my PS5. And so now, instead of like before, I had the TV. Hold on a second. I had like the couch. Oh, like the desk was facing that way, right? So it was facing towards the bedroom. And then so she had suggested, hey, why don't you go ahead and put it towards this wall for two reasons. One, you won't have the backlighting. And two, you'll actually have the shelf and the blue wall. So I think it works pretty good.
I think we need to get into the shelf, Sam. I think that's what the people want.
Okay, so the shelf. So we'll start, I guess.
What is on Sam's shelf? Remember, for the audio side of things, we need to be very descriptive.
Right. So here's the go. So let me put the camera up a little higher so you can see the shelf. Okay. So starting to the left, this is my candle, but you see it's Dwight.
Yeah.
It's Dwight.
We've seen the Dwight candle before.
Catholic kind of thing, right? So I have that. I put that on the shelf. And
nice.
This is my made in Russia, recycled in Ukraine. So this is the I showed people before, but I will open it up. So this is actually made out of a Russian tea tank. So they actually blew up a tank in the Ukraine, and then they took the tank and they made a metal stamp. And then because
it's a QR code.
Yeah, QR code. So you can so it actually shows them where the tank was in the battlefield, and they took it and they cut it down and they made these are metal It's like a metal dog tag, and it comes in this.
Hold that to the camera, Sam. Let's see if then people can try and go on the QR code.
Yeah, so there it's made in Russia. I love this. Made in Russia, recycled in Ukraine. Love that shit.
I'm going to give that a go. I'm going to run back and give that a go.
That's the tank that they found, and they actually have a serial number, and it's pretty cool. Like it's all good.
Interesting.
Anyway, so I bought that because I thought it was kind of cool.
Why'd you have that?
Because two reasons. One, I wanted to. There was a donation thing so you could support the military effort in Ukraine, because obviously the Russians are still there after almost 2.5 years. And then also, I just thought it was kind of cool. I like military hardware, memorabilia kind of stuff. I think it's kind of cool. So it comes in this little wooden box, right? And then you just put it on the shelf.
Nice.
Okay. And then this is the last time the Cardinals, Cardinals won a world championship. This is a bottle of Budweiser.
When was
Big
that?
bottle, 2006.
Ooh.
Actually, they won in 2011 too, but this is the one I bought the bottle. So this is Budweiser beer. It's actually in like a large.
Is the beer gone?
Yeah,
it's been drunk.
Cool. Yeah,
the beer's been drunk, right, Sam?
No, it hasn't been touched. I've never opened it. And on top of that, so this is I never opened it. And this is actually a bottle of Coca-Cola from 1982.
So that's older than me.
I was 5 years old or 6 years old when this happened. And of course, it has the scores and the box scores for the games. And like I said, it's never been opened. It's 40 years old. I'm sure the soda is probably flat by now. And then, of course, we've got
nice piece of memorabilia.
Some bobbleheads. I don't know if they have bobbleheads in the UK. I don't know if that's
of course we do. Yeah.
So you got bobbleheads. So this is Yadier Molina, and he's wearing a Blues jersey. And then this is Yachty just actually wearing.
No idea who either of them.
He's a catcher. So I don't know if they have catchers in. I don't know how cricket works. I don't know if they have a catcher. So this is the guy that receives
fielders.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So this is a catcher. He's probably the best
Okay.
catcher in the world. Okay. So then we got that, and then I've got a couple of baseballs. This actually is from a minor league game. I actually caught this ball. It's a home run ball.
You caught that?
I caught that, but it wasn't a Cardinals game. So they have like minor leagues. So this is from a Frontier League. So it's really like minor leagues, like super minor league. There's a local team called the Gateway Grizzlies. It's right there in Sauget, right across in Illinois. They play baseball, and of course they got some other Cardinal baseballs, and then of course Bud Light. This is when the Blues won the Stanley Cup. It's just 2019, right? So I got.
They're obviously more successful than.
Not really. They're not. And then of course, this is a beer bottle. It's metal. So that's 2016. It kind of goes with the other one here.
I had a World Cup one like that.
Yeah. So I mean,
I drank it and it's in the bin, but it was cool.
And then you got these last two things. So. These are I guess 20-ounce bottles. So that's the catcher, right? So it's the same guy, Yadier Molina, and then the other one on the other side of it is the pitcher that he. So these two guys, Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright, are the have started more Cardinal games than any pitcher, catcher, battery in Cardinal history, which is pretty cool. Okay. So it's kind of cool. They put it on the same thing. So I bought two of them, so you can kind of just put them together.
So Sam, these all got beer still in them?
They have beer still in them. And that's okay because
you won't want to drink them now.
No, I'm not touching them because honestly, it says Budweiser, and I have Budweiser at home. So anyway, that kind of explains the shelf behind me, and of course, I got other stuff like on this shelf, like that big picture over there. If anybody's ever been to Puerto Rico, that's one from one of the forts. It's like a painting of one of the kind of the end caps, like battery, and then just like other pictures and stuff. And then just pictures around, and then there's pictures on that wall of Anna and us, and it's cool. So I'm upstairs in the bedroom now, which is fine. This is probably where I'll be for a while. So anyway, if you
we have some cool people in the chat there. Catch up.
Budweiser's great. Yeah, I have actual cans of Budweiser in the fridge downstairs, so in case I really want a Bud, I can just go ahead and just do that. And you call. So anyway, thanks for Michael C. He's in the chat, and so this is where we are. Hey, Steve Litchfield is in the chat. He's catching us live. He's finished the PSC early.
You may have scared him off with the memorabilia.
Well, right, exactly. So anyway, that's kind of what it's going on. So if anybody's noticed that I don't have the black background or the orange office, is because I'm back upstairs. So
relocation.
okay. relocation. That's cool. It's whatever you're gonna do. So anyway, well, what do we got going on?
Jimmy's give us a $5. What a legend.
Yeah. Oh, I saw that earlier. Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate you, sir. We are going to hydrate. I, however, I do not have hydration as it were. I do have bottles of water. I will hydrate later.
What are you drinking tonight? Old-fashioned?
No, yeah, it's an old-fashioned, but it's just the maker's mark.
Nice.
Well, here in St. Louis, Midwest is under a weather advisory. So there's like a – well, I don't know if this happens in the UK. So it's really weird. So kind of north of St. Louis, it was all snow. In the middle section, like the metro St. Louis area, it was like a sleet. I don't know what it's like an icy, watery, snowy kind of mixed sleet, right? And then in the southern areas, it's really just kind of like it actually like last night, I kind of went outside. It was like really late. It was like 1 a.m. I checked it and it was like this layer of ice, real fine, not much in the trees. And then now it's snowing this. I want to call it snow, but it's really like kind of like a mixture of snow, sleet. Well, the good thing is if you're driving on it, it's actually pretty well. It has good traction. The problem is there's a layer of ice underneath, so I'm gonna have to shovel that tomorrow when this all stops tomorrow morning, and then I'm gonna have to shovel that and then kind of throw some chemicals.
Yeah, because it'll get worse overnight as well, won't it?
Well, the problem is I live on a major hill. Like my driveway's downhill, so it's like. I can get down the hill. I just can't get up the hill. And of course, I have a Mustang, and my wife has a SUV. But anyway, so tomorrow I'm working
easily.
But yeah, you can always get down it. You just slide down, right? But getting up is a big problem. So in the Midwest here, and actually, I think it's like from maybe Colorado, Oklahoma-ish to like Ohio. It's just kind of wintry mix, which is interesting.
Just for the record, when Sam said getting it up, he meant his drive still.
Right, exactly. Not anything else. So, yeah, I forgot I didn't have a chance to kind of give that reason why I was doing that. So anyway, that's what we're doing here, and so we're kind of hunkered down, and then tomorrow morning I work from home and that kind of thing. So we will shovel.
This is the first time we've caught up since Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah. How
was your Christmas, mate?
It was okay.
Did you get any tech?
I did not this year because here's the thing. So I don't know how you and your Lauren handle Christmas. Like my wife and I don't really buy each other gifts. Now this year I did make a little bit of a break from that. I did buy her a couple of kitchen stuff she really liked. And she had sent me videos throughout the year. Like, I thought this was a great idea. So I bought her some stuff, but really she doesn't buy tech for me because she just kind of lets it go. Cause she knows I'm not going to buy anything for him. Tech wise, because I don't know what he wants. I have no idea.
So she just allows you to buy it during the year,
right? And then here's the cool part. So, oh man, where is it at? I think it's on the back of my. Hold on a second. Oh, that's over here. Stand by. She did buy this, which I thought was kind of slick. Mm-hmm. So, it actually is it's like a brush. So if you click on the bottom, you can brush keyboards. Like this is like a brush.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But what's kind of cool is if you open up the lid, which is kind of neat. It has like little container. Like it's like there's like little brushes, right?
Oh,
so you can kind of take so if you have like a keyboard or something like that, you can kind of like pull these things out, and they have like little brushes.
Smart. Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, see, you got a little brush, right? So if you like a keyboard at home or a keyboard at work, and it's just this little container, and you just kind of like close it up, and then if you want to just take the big one, you just kind of. All right, and if you have a keyboard, you got a bunch of shit in it. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's kind of like doing one of these jobs. All right, it's kind of cool. So it's actually I broke the thing. There we go. So she bought me that, and then it was that was it. But really, I thought it was kind of slick. It's got a little also it's got the top. It's got a little sim tool and some other stuff going on.
Yeah, for cleaning all sorts then.
Right, it's pretty slick. Like I said, she bought that for me, and then it was like a stocking stuffer. And that's about it. And then, so not much tech. I know that you happen to get some pretty cool tech. If you want to, you want to share that?
It was a Christmas present to myself, really. I bought this recently.
Look at that, man! That's so cool. The Lumix, right?
Lumix S5 II. And I bought a kit lens off Dan, Grounded Tech. He did me a good deal on it. So yeah, I've always wanted a full frame camera, and I finally got one.
Right. That's cool. Have you actually used it yet and taken some pictures or not yet?
Yeah, not much though. I took a few, messing about at home. I shared a few in the Bunch of Phonies group of Sersha. Have a look in there, Sam. They're quite nice. I think they're good, decent quality. But yeah, I've got a lot to learn. Like, there's so many different, even just autofocus. There's so many different modes and stuff. It's just a bit overwhelming. But that's part of the beauty of it, isn't it? Learning the camera and
Right.
learning it inside out.
So I guess the question is this the first full frame camera you ever had, or did you have other?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess for people like me who don't really know, I'm not really a photography person. So what's the difference between like a full frame versus like a DSLR versus like obviously I realize like a little point and shoot.
So DSLR is actually the technology rather than the sensor size. But the DSLR that I had, which is my mum's, is this one, the Nikon, or Nikon, however you want to call it. This is APS-C, which is the sensor size down from full frame. So, and it's also only a 12 megapixel, I think, 12 or 16 megapixel sensor.
So the Nikon you have, it wouldn't take as much resolution photographs as the full frame. Is that
a resolution? No, you're right. It hasn't, because that is 24.5 megapixels, whereas this is, I think it's 12 or 16. But it also the capability of letting light in because of the sensor size. So APS-C is smaller than full frame. So, I mean, this is the sensor. I'll just quickly show you. See in there?
A little inside, yeah.
So that's the sensor. That's APS-C. Let's quickly show you on the full frame. People that know this already will be bored, but just for Sam, we'll do this. And then that's the full frame sensor.
I don't know anything about the photography part.
So that's a lot bigger. Look.
Oh yeah, it's way wider, a little taller.
Your phones have a little sensor in, which is why they'll never match that of a camera. Although they have a lot of AI smarts to try and make up for it.
Right. So, well, I guess that's where we had the Vivos, right? The X100 and the Vivo cameras, and I have seen a lot of. So this, I guess, gets into the situation where, at some point, are people buying phones really for the cameras? Right? Are they really is that what they're really buying the phone for? It seems like not everybody. Obviously, for regular people like me, I'm okay with like the Pixel, taking good photos because I want all the other stuff with the phone, right? I want the AI and everything else. But it seems like a lot of people, they're really buying phones really just because the camera, like on the Vivo, right? They're okay with like it doesn't have all this other kind of stuff, but the camera is really, really good. So how do you think that stacks up for 2025? Do you like obviously companies like Samsung has come out with the S25 and all that kind of stuff, but do you think so obviously we're talking about two markets, right? In the UK, you have access to Vivo. Generally, you can go into a store and get a Vivo, right? Or
Vivo's not as easy to get, but we can get them, yeah.
Right. And so Honor, and then you got Xiaomi and all those other ones that are more camera centric, as opposed to people in the US who really have, if you want a good camera, you really are stuck to Samsung, iPhone, Pixel. That's really what you got, right?
So with phones, we're in a really good position now. Like, your old compact cameras are pretty much gone because phones have taken over.
Right. The small little, I guess, the Fujis and those little kind of point and shoots, right?
Your little compacts that people would buy before, although they're starting to come back in fashion. But yeah, their phones have taken over. Vivo flagships just for the geeks. So I agree with Steve because people do care about the camera. We're in such a position now that even your mid-range phones have a very good camera. You can't really go wrong these days with a mid-range phone, in my opinion. Depending on what sort of level you're looking at, but most people are just point and shooting, doing shots with their family, aren't they? They're not really going out taking serious shots. But even if you wanted to, I'd say you could have fun with a mid-ranger as well.
Yeah. Well, I think like we had talked about before, where as far as the camera, as far as phones, right? Entry level, mid range, flagship, right? I think phone wise, I mean, obviously you have Dimensity, right? You have MediaTek and you have Dimensity and you have all these other chipsets and you have Tensor and even honestly, it seems like the Exynos that Samsung doesn't want. It seems like they want to still kind of get, somewhere, right? Hardware wise and phone wise, we're okay. It seems like the last battlefield of phones when it comes to entry level, mid range, flagship is really in the camera space, right? Because you get different sensors, you get a telephoto, you get a wide angle, first of all, hopefully they've ditched the macro, right? So, but I agree with Steve. I think for the most part, people have phone cameras. That's their point in shoots. For folks like you, or maybe Manos, or Jermaine, or other people who are really more photography focused people, like I think they would do like you did. You get a Lumix, or you get an actual standalone DSLR, a full frame camera, and then they have the best of both worlds. If they are in a situation where they know they're going to be taking more photographic kind of shots, they would probably bring the full frame. At least have that. Maybe still use the phone, but like, oh well, this is a great scene. This is a great lighting situation. This is a great subject matter. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the full frame and then kind of take shots. I mean, are you going to be kind of doing that where you're going to be taking that Fujix out kind of like as you go out?
Yeah, I'm going to take it around quite a lot, to be honest. I'm going to learn it inside out first, though, because I've got a lot to learn with photography, let alone the camera. But yeah, I'm going to take it out a lot. That's the plan. You don't invest in something like this unless you're going to.
Right.
But it's also going to be my YouTube cam as well, because it shoots open gate, which, to explain what that is, it uses the full sensor, and you can crop either vertical or horizontal because it uses the height and width. So that's quite cool. So I can do one shoot and get content in different formats from it.
Okay.
Rather than taking two shots.
So is it more format, not necessarily resolution, right? You're looking at like more format specific.
That's one of the reasons I got this particular one, yeah.
Okay.
Because it shoots open gate. Not a lot of cameras do that, which can save time.
Sounds good. So, like I said, so for everybody, in case you're ever wondering, I am not going to be buying a full frame camera. I might get a DSLR. I know. Here's the thing: I won't buy one, but I know Becky has asked. We've looked at like a camera for her that's more of like a Canon, or something that she could take photographs with when we're out doing stuff. I'm not really a photography person. It's just not my thing. And then it's funny. Jermaine's going to be doing a Vivo X200 versus a Canon R8.
That'd be good.
I don't really Canon R8, is that like more of a point and shoot kind of camera, or is it more like what you have? I guess I don't understand the comparison.
So there's two reasons why phones can't really compete, right, Sam? Obviously the sensor size are allowing light in, and the second one is, I said about how they try and compensate for it with the AI smarts and processing.
Right.
What I find, and I reckon Jermaine will agree, is a lot of these companies are over processing to try and make up for it.
Right, on the phones, right?
And it's preference. It is subjective, but for me, you can see that over processing, you can see that over sharpening, and I'm not a fan. Obviously, you can shoot RAW with all these phones as well,
right? And
you can get some really nice results. But yeah,
but
then that's someone who's into photography, someone who doesn't have.
Right. So, but all the phones didn't always have a RAW phone. You couldn't shoot always in RAW, right? That's kind of become kind of a thing that they've allowed you to do because of the fact that they, I guess, either want to try to kind of keep up with these full frame or DSLR cameras, right? So they did. Not every phone allowed you to shoot in RAW, right? And didn't Pixels for a long time then not allow a RAW format?
Yeah, they didn't for a long time because they want you to do point and shoot computational stuff. It's really annoying actually. On my V3, which I'm very happy with, right, especially now I've got a camera, you can't shoot RAW on the telephoto. You can only do it on the main. It's really frustrating.
That's really weird. So
Yeah,
I warned
really
Manos
weird.
by getting a camera, which I didn't recommend him. The details are far superior, but phones will flop. Yeah, I get it. I think I think what Jermaine is talking about is what Steve's talking about is like, for the most part, for point and shoot or selfies or just kind of casual picture taking, if you're at a park or with your kids or whatever, probably chances are either, well, hell, I've seen some people have an iPad. Like they're out there taking photos with
That's
an
a big
iPad
no,
mini.
no. That's
Right.
a big...
I get, I don't think, like I said, I'm not a photography person, but I mean, I think the iPad's kind of silly. But, but I think we're at that point where, it's like, I think for most people, probably 80% or more users of phones, they aren't going to bring a full frame or DSLR or any kind of like standalone camera. They're going to bring their phone. And it's going to be, it's good enough.
But don't get me wrong, Sam. Like what device do we view most pictures on? Phones, right?
Yeah, our phones,
and
right.
and phone pictures look great on phones. So there's nothing wrong. I love mobile photography still. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
and I will continue to take photos with mobiles. As Steve's here, he's got a MeWe group with some great photographers on there, taking some amazing pictures. It blows my mind. Some of the pictures
photos
on there.
that some of the people have submitted, as far as they're taking pictures of, is some of those are really and I'll tell you right now, if Manos is taking all his pictures on a phone, some of those and Mac, there are some amazing photographs that these phones are taking. And again, if you're a photography aficionado or photography, I guess snob is the negative word for that, right? You can see through that. But for most people, I've seen some of the pictures that Menos and then Mac and Jermaine have posted. I'm like, holy cow, these are fantastic. And really what it tells you is it's not necessarily the hardware. It's really what, like Juan Bagnell has always said, it's really the person using and knowing what to do with the hardware you have. And really you see the rule of thirds and all these other kind of photographical approaches and styles, right?
Sam, you said something quite good there, and I think snob was the right word, because with photography, in my opinion, people are snobs too much. They look in pixel peeping and stuff. They don't appreciate a photo for its composition or the fact that it is just a beautiful picture of a baby. Do you know what I mean?
Or just like people walking through, or of a really nice, architectural view, like you're like looking up at a building. And it's like some of these photos I've seen are really just, I mean, I kind of sit back and go, wow, that's a great use of the space, of the lighting, of the subject, right? It's more about the art of the photography that I like.
But then someone will see some grain that they don't like.
Yeah, like, oh, this one side in the top left corner, if you like pixel peep, you'll see it. Like, but the picture, the photograph, that the image that is presented, doesn't it speak to you? Doesn't it make you go like, holy cow?
Yeah, that's a good line.
That's what it should be about. And like I said, for me, I guess that's where I would really kind of like focus on. Really not necessarily the pixel peeping and like, oh, the technical, right? There's like the dynamic range isn't as good, but it's like, but when you see that picture, when you're scrolling through an Instagram post or a TikTok post or whatever, you see it and go, holy crap. Like some of the stuff that Manos has posted, I'm like, wow. It's just like,
you know, some of my favorite pictures, they're taken with my selfie cam and it's me and my daughter. Different situations. It's a terrible camera.
Yeah, she's my favorite because she's eating a sandwich or she's at like a corner.
Yeah, she's doing something funny and we're together pulling faces, and that's memories, and that's what photographs are all about sometimes,
Right. And I think, and again, I understand that everybody wants to push the technological capability, right? Let's do that. But I would say can you imagine taking a picture with a phone? Like think of like an HTC One M8, which was probably a pretty decent camera back in the day. And if you look at it now, you're like, ugh, it's terrible. So,
well, the selfie cams have moved on to a place where they're better than the main cameras on phones back in the day. So
yeah, and Steve agrees with you, the processing. Do you know about RAW and Pro RAW, which is right. It's what it is. And then Michael, one of my favorite people in the chat, because he always makes really good comments.
Yeah, very good points always.
Samsung founder apparently has very the TSCs, like I said, I noticed they're still kind of pushing the Exynos. Now I don't know with the S25 series. Are they keeping Exynos processors in any phone across their line? Like
that's what was interesting, Sam.
Yeah.
At the summit, when Qualcomm Snapdragon announced the partners list,
right.
Samsung was on there. Now they're not usually on there.
Okay.
Well, they wasn't the year before, at least. So that suggests to me that they're going to have Snapdragon across the whole 25 range. I might be wrong. That's just what I'm thinking, because they weren't on there before.
Right.
And I think that's because it was Snapdragon for Galaxy, and it was only in the Ultra, wasn't it, before?
Right.
So they didn't name them as a partner. But whereas if they've used them across the board, that makes sense, right? So, that's what I'm thinking.
Right. So let's talk about what's coming out in 2025. Right? We already have the OnePlus 13, right? And people taking photos. Now, I will tell you that I have seen people talking about the OnePlus 13 is like now the camera is finally like fire. Like now, I thought the 12 was pretty good, but they're talking about the 13. Like, are we already seeing that with the OnePlus? I think we're in this weird spot, right? So everybody's going to get all hyped up.
So Jermaine's tested the OnePlus 13 already,
right? And I've seen other people say that the camera is really like our buddy Darren, right? And Darren has tested that they said this is the best OnePlus camera ever. And like not only the best OnePlus camera ever, like this actually can compete against the Vivos and the Pixels and everything else. So how do you feel about that?
Oh, well, I really like OnePlus, so bring it on. I'd love to try one if OnePlus would like to send me one.
Right.
I can't afford to be buying one.
They're going to send us anything. They're going to send you maybe because you're the Snapdragon person. But like I said,
I doubt
it. So I guess my question would be is, like with me in the 2025, I'm all Pixel. Like I think I'm here. Like I don't
Which is a nice choice. Very nice choice.
Well, again, I feel bad because I like to try all these phones, but like we're in this other situation where we got like the OnePlus 13. Like I had a OnePlus 12 and tried it for a little while, and that was a great phone. Like I do like, and you get, but then the problem is for us, you have like Joey talking about the Xiaomi. The last Xiaomi I actually had and used was the Mi 11,
and you liked it a lot, didn't you?
I love that phone. Dude, I took it to Puerto Rico and took all the pictures I took in Puerto Rico when we went back then. It was all shot on a Xiaomi Mi 11. And man, it was a great phone back then. So you got Samsung coming out, I guess, pretty soon. CES is starting, right? So I guess it starts the 7th, right? The 7th.
You'll see all the creators there already.
Well, and here's the thing.
Documenting their flights.
Right. And I guess I don't want to kind of like bang on this drum again, but here we are at CES, right? So we have 140,000. I saw that Nothing But Tech, right? So this is Jacqueline Dallas, right? And by the way, Jacqueline Dallas, if you want to come on this podcast, we would love to have you. But at
I'm sure she's listening right now.
I have absolutely.
She's lurking in the
100% certainty she's never going to hear this show. However, it's like, here we go, 140,000 creators, and they're going to have this creator space and YouTubers and creators and everything else. But it's like, I don't know if that has the same level of oomph anymore. Like the MKBHDs, the Nothing But Text, all these people. And I noticed that she is kind of like pivoted from reviewing phones to really kind of doing more of being there and kind of experiencing the events and kind of talking to CEOs, right? She doesn't really do reviews so much anymore. No. So I guess my question is going to be is, what do you think the tech space in 2025 and maybe 26 looks like with creators? Are we just going to do this whole reviewing phones that I saw that, and Josh talks about Max Weinbach. I'm going to be 100% real with you. I think he has a kind of, I've listened to him on other shows. He has a real kind of, I don't know how to put this to be, I don't know Max Weinbach. I don't know him personally. He seems to be really kind of like very. I don't want to say egotistical in a negative way, but he's very confident of his ability. But what I'm saying though is anybody really watching the reviews and going, okay, well, I was considering.
Does he do reviews?
He does. I think he does. Well, he talks about the phones. I mean, he's talking about the OnePlus 13.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, of all the creators that you see that you talk about and you may see exposure to, do you think they're going to rock a OnePlus 13 throughout the entirety of 20? Like, is that going to be their main phone? I realize they review phones.
The ones I watch, they might do because, but yeah, the bulk of the ones that got a lot of subscriber count, no, they won't. Right. Definitely not. They'll be on to the next thing, and that's obvious that they have to do that because there's so much coming out and they need to cover it.
Well, we're getting back into that cycle, right? So here we are with the OnePlus, right? The Xiaomi start the cycle, right? And then you have Samsung Unpacked, and then we kind
on
of
the brink of Samsung, and Magic 7 Pros coming out as well.
It's the same time frames, right? So here we are again in 2025. So I've seen the OnePlus 13. Honestly, it looks like an iterative version of the OnePlus 12. The S25 looks to be an iterative version of the S24. Right. I don't see anything coming out of Samsung. Like they're talking about the Fold 7 and the Flip 7, right? Again, if you're talking about iterative updates, do you really think that we do? I don't need these. I like Adam's commentary. I like Steve Alicious. That's another person I really. And folks, if you aren't really dialed in, do me a favor, folks that listen to the show, look at Steve Alicious and check him out. He does a really good job about talking about phones too. So and Adam Matlock obviously is one of our favorite people in the world. I love Adam, but he's at the show and Snubs at the show. But we got all these people at the show, and here it is, 2025. We're back in the same boat. I don't know. It just doesn't move the needle for me anymore. Like I like listening to their shows and listening to their content, and I will watch them. But honestly, I almost do it now as informational entertainment, not necessarily like I'm going, and I'm not buying a phone, so that's not what I feel like. But it's one of those things where I don't really look to these people to kind of like give me a confirmation bias on the phones I'm buying anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't anymore. I like to actually try them myself. That's why.
Well, and you have the ability because, like I said,
I don't. Sadly,
the S24 Ultra, you're on the like. Have you actually used that phone other than just right?
But one, I was very lucky to get this one, but I'm highly unlikely to be invited to anything else in the future. Right. I got very lucky with two things with Snapdragon. Very grateful for it, but I don't expect to be invited to anything else in the future. So yeah, I'm not likely to have many devices in 2025 like I did in 2024, if I'm honest. But that's fine. I've got lenses to save up for now, haven't I? I've got my camera. I'm going to need new lenses for it, and they cost a pretty penny, Sam. It's not a cheap hobby. So I'm going from one expensive hobby to another.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, and this goes, we're on the CES, right? I thought, wasn't CES like, is it always been in January? Is that always
There's two, CES? Isn't there? Is there two?
No, I don't think so. I think this is the
what am I talking about? Why am I thinking that?
So I for some reason I thought CES was later in the year, like maybe February, March timeframe. No. Anyway, I like I said, Aditya, fan of the show. Is it 12S plus rather? Well, here's the thing. I think we are in the situation where with all these phones, the Honors, the Vivos, the Oppos, the OnePlus, the Samsung, the Pixel, the iPhone, I think we're all iterative now. Other than Huawei making the trifold Mate X, the Mate.
Sam, to be honest, it's been like that for quite some time, hasn't it, really? If you look at the Samsung range, if you look at the S22, 23, 24, there's not massive differences. It's kind of been like that for a long time, I'd say.
Well, I guess my question is, are you okay with that? And I guess for folks who are reviewing phones, right? So this would include you because you're getting into the screen on time, right? So do you honestly think that there's no OEM that's really doing anything massive? Like the HTCs, the LGs, obviously the Huawei making the trifold, right? Have we kind of like basically just gotten to an iterative mode? And if that's the case, then really it's about like, okay, the camera's a little better. Obviously, the processor is a Snapdragon Gen 4, Gen 5, whatever. I guess my question is like, as a person who may be looking to upgrade a phone, like I think at the end of the day, if I have this Pixel 9 Pro XL, I shouldn't have to upgrade probably for the next 2 or 3 years. Like they'll come out with, now they'll come out with 10, right? And so the only thing that maybe with the Pixel is next year's they're talking about the TSMC chipsets, right? So, but I mean, do you really think you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck?
No, I don't, Sam. To be honest, people shouldn't upgrade every year, unless you've got the money to do so and you're in a good financial position. Then by all means do it. But people shouldn't. They really shouldn't. I tell people, like Jermaine mentioned earlier in the chat about buying last year's flagship. That's a great shout.
Oh, I would agree.
You'll pick up an S24 Ultra now if you want to go Samsung, like for very cheap, because people know that the S25 Ultra's coming out.
What about the Pixel 8 Pro?
Very good device. Great device.
Yeah, I mean, I was like that's last year. I've even seen people go as back as far as because remember, like Pixel has decided to extend and offer the software updates for the 6 and the 7, right? So we're at like phones that you thought, well, I won't get the 7 years, but now it's like, oh, okay. I'll tell you right now, if I could still get updates on the Pixel 4 XL, I would rock the shit out of that phone. I love
do question how they're going to hold up over 7 years. So like the battery on that device over 7 years,
right?
Like, I mean, it's a nice promise that they're going to do it, but is the device really going to hold up?
No, it won't hold for 7 years. But I will tell you that. Did you see that on my Pixel, I have signed up for, I guess, on the battery where it only charges to 80%. Right, so 80% charge. And then just like microcharger throughout the day. I think they're trying to. I think they realize, like, is this device that we create in 2024, like the S, is it going to last 7 years with the battery? No, probably not. No. Right. But the fact that they were willing to go back to the Pixel 6 and the 7 series and extend that software update, like honestly, what's your favorite Sam, Pixel?
What do you think about us having replaceable batteries again?
Oh God, do it.
Because if you can offer 7 years, right? If you did that, the phone might hold up, right?
Well, I think not only replaceable batteries, but expandable storage. Like that's what I like about. Yeah, to make
the wing. Like I got the needs in the future.
Right,
it's a cool piece of tech that.
So the wing, first of all, if you do this to somebody in public, they go, whoa.
Yeah, I bet. Right? Yeah.
But what's cool is the fact that it has expandable storage. I can buy an SD card and maybe a terabyte, 2 terabyte, and throw it into my phone, right? But also on top of it, it's like I just don't understand why phone manufacturers. I get it; they have to sell phones.
Yep.
And I've told you before, I liked what Duo was doing, where they had like a off-year cadence, right? So you have the S25. Let's say you launch all those, right? S25 Plus, Ultra, Light, right? Flip Fold, right? For 25, right? That's it. And then 26, you do nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Won't
right? And
never
then
happen, but
27. Well, of course it won't happen because they live in this world where they've been able to upgrade every year. But look at what Apple's run into, which I think is for the first time and really like I think in the history of Apple is like they said like people have really said the 16, not much of an upgrade. I'm going to keep my 15 or my 14 because that's interesting because most Apple users every year like clockwork.
I don't know because I see
14,
some really old ones.
right. I picks the iPhone 8, 9,
Well, Lauren had an
10R.
iPhone 8 for a long time, and I got her a 12 Pro. And now, obviously, with the job I do, I get her a new phone every year. But she'd happily keep the same phone for 3-4 years,
Right,
and
and
it'd be fine.
I agree with Steve here. If you're going to get a last year's flagship is a great buy because you can get it for probably half or less. Have you actually priced out a Pixel Fold on Swappa or any other like resale? You're looking like $450 to $550.
Do you know what? Those on that note, I wouldn't feel comfortable buying a foldable device secondhand. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe this is me being a snob, but because I question durability anyway, and you don't know what it's been through. And someone would argue, how is that different to any slab phone? But I just don't know. I wouldn't feel comfortable buying unless it was a really, really good deal.
Right. So let's see. Geez, I'm waiting for the 2025 Sony Xiaomi Ultra. I think Sony's gone. I think this maybe this year or maybe the next year is the last year that Sony really offers Xperia of any this.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, you might be right.
No, they're just not moving.
Sad.
Yeah, it sucks because, and so let's see, first 2 years. Well, hold on, first years. Yeah, so I noticed that the Pixels it allows you to set it up where you can charge to 80%, and then
that's a good feature. That
like I've decided to use that, and honestly, I as far as me with like microcharging all the time, I think it's really pretty good. I'm going to try the 80%. I'm not going to charge 100%.
Well, the thing is, Sam, the chipsets are really getting really efficient now, and they're up in the milliamp hours on a lot of the flagships as well. So it does make sense, the 80% thing for me.
Yeah,
you got more chance of it lasting than 7 years, maybe, if you do that.
And I agree, Michael. I'm just telling you is I thought that Microsoft did a good job where they had when they brought out the Surface Duo 2, it wasn't the next exact year. It was 18 months later. I think that I
is that by design or?
Well, with Microsoft, it's probably not right. So I don't give them much as far as their mobile division. I really think that Microsoft doesn't do a good job. But I think their idea of maybe not making a phone every year, unless you're doing what Huawei does. Like Huawei decided, okay, we're going to make a trifold. Okay, we're going to do. If you're changing the form factor so drastically that maybe you can upgrade. But honestly, I've had the Mate 30, the Mate 30 Pro, and honestly, I would have kept that phone for 3 or 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. So these companies have to understand that they're upgrading all the time. Every year, they're hoping to catch the 3 or 4 year old people, right? Not necessarily the S24 people. They're looking for the S20 people. But the problem is I don't think they're necessarily going to be there. Like, I don't think they're going to go from S20 to S25, right? Like, okay, it's been 5 years. I'm going to upgrade my phone. They're going to go, oh, hey, there's Pixel. Hey, there's iPhone. Hey, and now I'm just talking about the U.S. market, right? I realize that the U.K. and the European market is different. I don't know. I think we should go to an every other year cadence unless you're coming with a really dramatically different either chipset or form factor or
some innovation. Like I like the I'd love to try the TCL Next Paper
Oh,
stuff.
dude, I want to see that minimalist phone too. Like, whereas that.
Oh yeah, you're just talking about
Yeah,
that's
I
interesting.
just as
I don't know
something
if I'd want that
different.
myself, but
Well, again, we had that conversation not
yeah,
the last show, but again, I think we have to really at this point where if we're not doing camera innovation, because remember, think about it. Do you think we're going to get eventually maybe 27? We're going to get to like peak camera available, like maybe 1-inch sensor, right? And then that's about
one
it.
instance has already been done, hasn't it? So,
Well, yeah. So, like, how much more can we do with the camera and like the chipset and the overclocking, right? We haven't done that. Like Juan talks about his phones being like, dude, this phone is like way more hardware and
than anyone needs.
Yeah, for what you're trying to do, it's overkill. Like I don't wonder if these companies have really decided what they were going to do in the next maybe 3 to 5 years, unless I think the foldable category and the flippable category, I think is kind of like done.
That's the funny thing, Sam. Right? People are buying phones that they use about 25% of its capability.
Oh, well, it's like your brain, right? What do they say about humans, right?
Yeah,
people only use like 15 to 20% of their actual brain capacity.
Mm.
Right, I think we're at that point, right, where you can't really you can overclock a processor, you can add camera hardware, but at the end of the day, it's like how much more have we the law of diminishing returns, right? Are we at that point with phones? I think we are. My argument is with 2025, I think we are. Right?
I think we are. I think we have been for a while. Like I say, I think we have been for a while.
Right, and I agree. And Tuna's in the chat, Jason. I agree. Xperia is done in the US.
Yeah,
maybe in the UK, in the European Union, Middle East, maybe Asia. Maybe Xperia has a
there's
foothold.
still a cult following for Xperias, I think.
Right. Well, I agree, but I think, I agree with Jason here in the US. The Xperia line is done.
We've got an Oppo ambassador in the chat.
Who?
Manos.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations. He's doing a great job as well. Everyone should check him out. Orange Scooter on Twix.
Yeah. 2 of my coworkers are iPhone. Oh, well, your coworkers need to get a new phone. 6S.
They certainly do.
I mean, come on now. So what is Jason? Oh, his Tesla. Oh, I love it. I'm not getting into this argument today. I'm not doing it.
Let's not go there. Yeah, Sam loves Teslas.
I like it. So you can set your Tesla charge to 80. Okay. That's cool. So yeah, that's it. Well, it
makes sense.
Yeah. I cannot keep up with these chat. You guys are great. It's so engaging on the chat. I can't keep up to
I just love how you read it in your heads, and anyone who listens to the audio version doesn't hear the questions.
Yeah. Next paper looks very intriguing. Yeah, like I said,
next paper
or the minimalist phone, right? What they're talking about. Like it's actually I think it's pretty good.
I like what CMF did with the different attachment bits you could do and things like that.
What we Sam, my brother. God, love it, DJ. The SD of my Sony.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong. And that's why the problem is, the funny thing is, like, what is Sony going to do? It's like, okay, well, we have access to a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Most of our people who are using a 865 or a 888 or maybe a Snapdragon Gen 1. And so that turns into, do the phone manufacturers want to maybe go to a Snapdragon 7 series, right? And save some money, but then they'll get crushed in the comments because, like, oh, look at Sony. They're going back to a 7 Gen series. That's not flagship material. But it's like, but you got people like Hadithia who are rocking an 865 or 888 or a Gen 1. And they're like, dude, it does everything I need. It's like, it's awesome.
More than capable. Yeah.
So why not go with the phone that is a 7 series, right? Gen 1 is.
The Pixel 5 series was in that, and that was brilliant. I mean, I could see some lag here and there. Took a little bit longer to take a photo, but in real world use for most people, it really wasn't an issue. great little device that was. The only problem with that one, I really hated the under screen speaker. That sucked.
Yeah, not and say itself right, and so mind. I think what happens is I think this is a iPhone Samsung problem for North America, right? So again, I think most iPhone users don't have any clue. Sorry, I have dogs, so I can't. Like, yeah, whatever.
Sam's dog's an iPhone user. Yeah. It took offense to.
They're not. They have hoodies. They're definitely Android guys. Anyway, so, but here's the thing. It's like you have most people who are okay, right? iPhone users, right? And they don't care about any of this. So in the North American cell phone market, really iPhone, what is like 62 to 69% of the market, they don't care about any of this shit. iPhone users, here's the thing. I don't care if there's an iPhone user in this chat. That's fine. We will fight. It's cool. iPhone users don't give a shit about specs and tech and sensors and none of it. They don't care. They don't. You know what,
to be honest, Sam, I don't think your general user does.
No, I don't think the general user. I think the general Android user kind of sort of pays attention to it. Sort
of, but not massively.
Right. But iPhone users absolutely don't care.
Yeah,
they don't care. And Scoop's in the chat. Is he in the chat? Oh, my man.
Did you see his little project?
Yeah.
The portraits. They're beautiful. Really nice.
Scoops, one of my favorite photographers. Him and Jermaine and Manos, and then you guys.
Just in case Scoop missed it, I've got it.
Yeah, look at that. Oh. Scoop, check it out.
I don't know how to use it, but I've got it.
And Litchfield has decided he has better things to do with it. You know, I like the fact that Steve comes by, and he is one of my favorite. Like, I will watch his content, even if he's not talking about a phone that I use or I would use. Steve Litchfield is one of my favorite content creators and one of my favorite content creators. I love Steve's great.
Love listening to him and Ted. I love it. Yeah.
Him and Ted are great. So, like I said, and so Scoop's got Joe's got a full frame camera, so he's gonna come in there and take some pictures. Who knows what? And you're a Simeon user. Nah, you're
dick pics. Full frame dick pics.
Anyway, so Scoop, he's doing good. So Lumix, what model?
I won't be doing that. Don't worry.
What model of Lumix? You said which one it is, right?
Which S5 Mark II.
So I guess my question is, as Scoop, is do you have an S5 Mark II? Have you used an S5 Mark II? And what are I don't know anything about Lumix. Is it like so it's not Canon, it's not Sony, it's
Panasonic.
Panasonic. Oh,
yeah, it's Panasonic.
Okay,
Panasonic Lumix.
So I guess my question is, so what is it because the phone was the camera you bought was available and it was a really good deal? Do you like Sony? Do you like Panasonic branded cameras? Like what? Why the Lumix?
A few things.
I have no idea anything about.
You want to know why I picked this camera? So there are a few things. I wanted a good hybrid camera. So it's very capable of stills, but it's also a very good video camera. I mentioned about open gate. That's a really nice feature. I think it's going to come very useful for content creation if I ever pull my finger out and do that. Value for money. This is probably one of the best value for money full frames out on the market, in my opinion, at the moment. So I got the body for 1,100 because there was a discount on Panasonic UK's website. So it was reduced from 1,699 to 1,399. Then there was a £300 off code on their website.
So you got it for about $1,000.
1,099, yeah, for the body. And then Dan, Grounded Tech, top geezer, he sold me the kit lens for 150 quid. Wow. So, and from all accounts, it's quite a capable kit lens for me to learn on. It's 20 to 60 mil.
So Scoop says Lumix is a video monster. Is it?
Yeah,
True?
yeah, it's very good for video. Very, very good. Mm-hmm.
So Jermaine says, I love my Lumix, but the autofocus of the S5 wasn't good enough, so with the router of the Canon. I feel my Lumix style
Jermaine's got the S5.
Canon being soft and Sony being sharp. Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's got the S5, but the autofocus is much better on the S5 Mark II. So it's got phase detect autofocus on this, which is much better tech. And from what I've seen and what I've used so far, the autofocus is very nice.
Yep. So he's saying that it's right in the middle. He can't use them for his normal work, but not quite fast enough. Okay. The 20 to 60 is phenomenal. Dude, okay, folks. I can't hang out with this camera shit. I have no idea what's going on. God love it. And this is what that I have no idea what's happening right now. Right. Okay. It's 20 to 60 millimeter.
2060.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So here we go, Sam. That's 20. 60.
So it's 20 to 60 and everything in between. You can Like I don't have thank God. Scoop, appreciate you and Joe. I have no idea what's going on. So
Sam, you know, they always say try and tell you the equivalents on phones.
Okay.
That's another subject though, whether they're accurate with that. But so yeah.
I have no idea. Like I said, oh hey, look at that. Sean's in the chat. Sean P, my man. Hey, let's go Giants. Right?
I'd love having him on the show.
Hold on. Yeah, dude, I love him. Sean is one of my favorite. Just a guy you can kind of riff with. He's awesome. Hold on, mate.
We need to get Scoop on again. It's been a while.
Well, Scoop wants to come on. I hope so. And then Jermaine wanted to talk about lenses. I have that'll be a show. Holy shit! Look at that! Look at that! Hold on a minute. You got to be kidding me. The Bears beat the Packers. It doesn't even matter. But here's the thing. The Bears finished the season 5-12. And you know what? As long as they beat the Packers.
Scoop works Sundays.
Oh, no. Okay.
We'll have to change our day.
Well, Scoop.
We can do that.
If you don't work a Saturday, remember, this is the Nomad Tech Project. We will move a Friday, a Saturday. We will do it any show.
We're flexible for you, Scoop.
We will flex for anybody who wants to come on.
Yeah, for anybody, really, yeah.
So, like I said, I'm like, let's Scoop shit. Yeah, I have no clue. Sean, I have no idea what's going on. I will tell you that I'm not even going to fake like I know anything about cameras or full frames. I have no idea. It's not my jam. I am not.
I don't know nowhere near as much as Jermaine and Scoop, to be fair.
Yeah, Scoop is. I follow him on Instagram, so the Bionic Scoop, and his photos are awesome, awesome. Like I'm not even a wrestling or anything, but he does such a great job at just framing action shots in sports. I wonder if he ever decided. And Scoop, this is a question: have you ever decided to do like any other sport, like baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer, cricket, football, whatever? I think you'd do a really good job. So
yeah, definitely.
Does that mean anything?
So APS-C is the smaller sensor size.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is positive. So for a little while, Sam, I was looking at Micro Four Thirds.
Okay.
I was actually looking at there's a camera that has the same body as this, the G92 by Lumix. Now, the positives with that is it's much lighter, much cheaper lenses, well, fairly cheaper lenses. You got much more reach because it's a crop factor. You got much more reach with the telephotos, which I like doing, and the stabilization on it is unreal. But with full frame, with lower light capabilities, obviously with the bigger sensor, it's better than the Micro Four Thirds for that. So that was part of my decision making in the end. But I really was considering a G92.
Jermaine, I spent 10 minutes explaining me to people. Yeah, and that's the problem too. So, and here's the thing: I don't I don't ask because I'm not interested in learning. I just don't know. Like I have no idea. So the fact
You
that
could learn it
Jermaine,
quite easily.
yeah, I could, but I just like to listen to you and Jermaine and Scoop and all these people who are really photography centric people talk about full frame and 4/3 and DSLR and all. I just find the whole conversation to be fascinating when I listen to you guys talk. So, and I don't try to be a poser. Like I have no idea about photography. I just like really good pictures. I have no idea how you create that. So I'm okay with going on. Like I said, Antuna's coming on. He's gonna live from his Tesla.
Yes,
Okay.
hopefully this will help you. That
camera sensor size. Okay, it's micro 4/3, ASPC full frame, medium format. I haven't heard anybody mention me. Why has nobody mentioned medium format in this conversation?
Scoop
Is
has.
that Scoop? Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Where?
Scoop did. Yeah.
Is
So
that
that's
what he uses? So
Yeah.
So why? I guess why does he use the medium frame? Is it because it's the size? And if this is the size, but why? Why the differences? Is it just size of the sensor? Is that all the differences in photography?
Well, no, there's more to sensors than just size.
Okay.
But yeah, size is a big, because photography is essentially about light, right, Sam? The basics of it. So if you've got a bigger sensor, more light taking in capability. That makes sense?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So that's why mobile phones with their smaller sensors can't take in nowhere near as much light.
Oh, I have no idea. I'm so confused.
So film,
right?
remember old film?
Yeah,
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, that's what he means, I think.
Okay. Like I said, I have so we need to get like Jermaine and Scoop and somebody on here who like you guys and really talk about cameras. Like I understand bigger. That makes sense. Bigger sensor,
bigger sensor, more light.
We're talking about like 4/3 ASPC.
Yeah.
Like full frame. Okay,
Exactly, mate.
but is it always about the sensor size? And depending on what you're trying to shoot, would you want to go with the smaller sensor size with maybe a faster speed, like sports photography or portrait photography? Or I don't understand. I can't figure out. It's like if full frame or a medium frame, right? If that was like the sensor, wouldn't you just go with that all the time? Like go with the biggest sensor possible, the most light possible, and then you can scale in. But there's clearly a market.
There's a few things. There's a few things to it.
And DSLR and what you got full frame.
So
right?
why do you think? Let's put it this way, Sam. Why do you think mobiles are so popular for photography?
Well, because they're easy. Because
exactly.
that's what you'll have in your hand. Right.
Point and shoot, nice and easy, convenient. This is why not everyone walks around with a full frame. I mean, it's a lot more heavier. So that's why not everyone walks around with full frame. But you'll get much better quality from a full frame.
Hold on a minute. I think we might be able to pull Scoop in. I'm gonna try to message him. Let's see if I can.
He might be. Is he working though? Oh, he's gonna drop him. Oh, cool. This will be good.
Oh God, I don't know if I have. Oh.
Yeah. So with bigger sensors, you get bigger glass.
Oh. Hold on a minute. Stand by.
Stand by. We've got to do a drum roll. Tell me when.
I have no idea.
We know that, Sam.
Wow. Thanks, dude.
I just said what the chat was thinking. Sorry. Here we go.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Scoop. Stand by. Oh, there you go. Check the DMs on your. I think I have it figured out. He's gonna help me explain it.
Someone who actually knows what they're talking about is going to.
Right. It's not gonna be me because I have clearly no
Or
clue.
me.
Right. So there is Joe. Yeah, scope.
There he is.
My man in Amsterdam. Hello, sir. So
All right.
can you help me? I have my head is caving in. So
all right. So everyone hears full frame and they think that's the largest size. Full frame is just a 35 millimeter frame size. That's all it is. Okay.
Okay, so the 35 millimeter, it was that like the regular cameras back in
35 millimeter is what most people shot on. Your regular traditional SLR cameras are 35 millimeter for the most part. But we'll get
film.
We'll get there. Stay with me. All right. So that is your baseline for what people try to explain sensor and crop sizes on. Everything is based off of 35 millimeter. Okay.
Okay.
So your APS-C is between 1.5 and 1.6 times smaller. All right?
Smaller than 35 millimeter.
35 millimeter, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's your crop factor on that. So if I'm shooting on a 30 millimeter lens on APS-C, that is a full frame equivalent of 50 millimeters. So your nifty 50 on a full frame is about 30 on an APS-C. Because now you're getting equivalent focal length. Is what we're talking. Right. It's equivalent focal length at that point.
Okay, so I guess my question is these have ASPC and medium frame and full frame and DSLR, have they been around for years and it was just the digital equivalent to an analog version of 100%. Those? Yes. Okay. Well, I'm asking because I have no idea. I'm not
so it's a little bit different on 35 millimeter because you got half frame cameras. Those are kind of like that. They basically trick 35 millimeter into being half the size. So on one 35 millimeter frame on film, you can get two pictures. So a 36 exposure, a 24 exposures becomes 48 or 36, depending on the film length, right?
Okay.
So now Micro Four Thirds is exactly 1/2 the size of a 35 millimeter
shot
frame, right? So that crop factor is 2. So if I had a 25 millimeter lens on Micro Four Thirds, it is equivalent focal length of 50 millimeter.
Okay, so 25 was exactly half of 50. Okay, I got it. Okay, mathematically. Okay.
That even goes down to depth of field calculations when it comes to apertures. So if I have I know.
I don't have enough alcohol.
Stay with us, Sam. Stay with us.
I'm trying.
You have to let me get there. You're freaking out. You're freaking out.
Such information. I don't know.
You're freaking out before I get there. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So, like I said, our baseline is always 35 millimeter.
Okay.
So let's say you have a 1.4 lens in 35 millimeter, right? You have a very shallow depth of field. Well, as you get to the crop factors, where it's 1.5 times smaller, well, now your depth of field becomes larger as you get smaller and combine. The aperture values are the same. An f1.8 is a f1.8 across every single frame type. It's the same amount of light. The depth of field changes on the equivalent focal length. So a 2.8 or a 1.4 on a Micro Four Thirds appears to be 2.8 when it comes to actual distance. It's still only 1.4 light. It's the same amount of light. But the fact that you're compressing that focal range and everything doubles, much like it does when you get to 35.
I think Sam doesn't know what aperture is.
Well, that's this. Is that aperture is the opening of the
iris?
Yes.
The iris
for the aperture is the size of the opening for light.
Yeah, I stand corrected. Well done, Sam.
Okay.
Yeah, so since we're feeling froggy here, I'm gonna share something.
I have no idea what's happening right now, but I'm in. So I guess my question is, why would people want to shoot? What's the benefit of shooting in different apertures and/or focal lengths?
The crop factor can be a benefit.
The crop factor is a huge benefit. So Micro Four Thirds are very big amongst outdoors folk and wildlife because I can carry a smaller lens and get the same amount of distance than I can by carrying a full frame of the same size.
Is it because the subjects are moving as opposed to static?
So Sam, remember
Crop factor, equivalent focal length. So if I go out and I've got a 600 millimeter lens that's this freaking 3 feet long and it weighs 4 pounds, the lens weighs 4 pounds. If I can get that same thing for something that's this big and barely weighs 1.5 pounds on top of my gear I'm carrying the smaller camera that's getting the same length.
Mm-hmm. So I guess my question is, why is it because the larger lens exists? Is it because it's just old? And
you have to have an equivalent size. So you've got your sensor. You have to have something to cover that whole sensor to maintain the proper focal lengths. So it takes more glass to cover a full frame sensor than it does to cover an APS-C sensor, than it does to cover a Micro Four Thirds sensor. Because remember, we're talking small, medium, and we're getting bigger. The bigger it gets, the more glass it takes to cover that whole sensor to take a full image.
So Sam, think about 100 mil on the Micro Four Thirds. Remember the crop factor's 2. That'd be a 200 on a full frame.
And half the size.
So I guess the size. So if you're taking,
so that's amazing.
So this is from a photography novice, right? So if you have, why not just get the largest frame and the largest lens, and you can always scale down. Like go for
because no one wants to spend $15,000 for that.
Okay, so what it comes down to is
Sam.
It comes down to cost, right? It really has nothing to do with functionality. It's like
it's both. It's both. So if I was going to be, I'm being real honest right now. If I was going to shoot full-time sports, like I'm going on the road, like I'm going to shoot
football, basketball, NHL.
I'm shooting one of 3 brand of cameras. I'm shooting Sony, Canon, or Nikon. And it has nothing to do with I have a choice for those. It's the support I would have on the road. They have dedicated support in stadium to help the professional photographers.
So that's we're talking about standalone point and shoot people, not the video people who are like actually.
I'm talking. You see me on the sideline with a giant white long lens in the pit. I'm talking about that
with the handle on it.
So you're talking about people who are like
I'm talking working photographers
in not necessarily for broadcast, right? We're not. Okay.
Broadcast means nothing to me. I'm talking
for websites and
so like you posting it on Instagram or the agent.
I'm talking the Associated Press is giving me money for my photos,
right? Yeah. Or NHL.com is wanting to put this shot. Okay, gotcha. Mm-hmm. Okay, so not broadcast. We're outside that scale. Okay, I got you.
I'm talking way outside that scale, right?
Okay,
way outside that. So I'm shooting those 3 buildings, which are basically built on support. Now, look at it this way. Check out the price on the 1200 millimeter Canon RF lens. That is the largest lens for field sports / just 1200 millimeter RF lens. Take a look at that.
Okay. We're talking, looks like, well, there's a pretty good range here. We're talking like $199 to like $850. So
1200 millimeter RF f2.8 is $15,000.
Okay, well, so that wouldn't be something you would do as a freelance or a person. You would either be working for a company who would just give you that lens.
Right? Oh, they're not giving it to you.
No.
You got to buy that.
You could rent it. You could rent it while you're there, but they're not. They're not just giving out $15,000 lenses. There's so much glass in that thing.
Man,
I mean, you're not likely to have that unless you're a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So okay. So go ahead.
All right, let me. I'm going to share. You mind if I share something real quick?
No, please.
All right. So let me.
That's why you're here.
Yes.
Yeah. I think this is the first time that in the middle of a show we brought somebody into the show who was the SME who knew what the fuck was going on, because I have no idea.
That's the one we want to share.
Here we go.
So this is one of the portraits I took.
Great.
For this is in a full TIFF format. This file's freaking massive. This file's huge. So this is a direct film scan from Acros 2. Oh, I shot this on my Mia C220 TLR twin lens reflex. Those are those older style cameras you see with the two lenses and you look at the top. That's a medium format. So the sensor on that bad boy, the 120 film, so it's huge.
As far as
the
we
film
know,
is huge.
The medium format is the largest sensor,
largest carryable sensor.
Right.
They go even bigger than that. They go even bigger than that.
Taking shit. Okay.
They go even bigger than that. You can get like 8x10.
Okay.
So no flash here. I use static light. I used my Xeon 100-watt light with the softbox and gridding, and lit just half of their faces.
Right.
Yeah. So the crazy part about this shot, let me see if I can let me zoom in, is the bigger the sensor, the higher amount of detail you can pull.
Look at his cheek. Like you see all his.
You see his pores, yes.
Right, his pores on it. Wow, that's so wild.
So the detail you can pull, and this is on film. This is physical media I have had scanned. You can only imagine what the digital ones are like.
So
it's beautiful.
Is it because you only had access to it? So there are still people who take regular film, right? Mm-hmm. Images, and then they have to digitally.
Yeah, they get scanned. Yeah,
scanned. Okay, so this is actually like
that is a direct scan of the negative. This was shot at f3.5 on a 75 millimeter lens, I believe. 75? It's 75, yeah. And I'm about 3 feet from him, roughly.
If you go on his Instagram, Sam, you can see he shows his setup.
I actually have the setup. Hang on, I'll pull it up too. Yeah.
It's really cool.
I had no idea that this was like legitimately a thing. I realize that people do professional photography, and you have wedding photographers and sports photographers and everything else, but like I had no idea. Like, dude, I have.
But Sam, the key to these shots though is the whole setup that Scoop's done.
Yeah. Well, again, I told you before, it's not just technical capability; it's the fact that Scoop knows how to frame a dramatic, artistic shot. Like that's. There
it is. I just pulled it back up.
Okay. I gotcha. Let me add this one. Okay, cool.
So it's all about. That's as far as I was away from him. And mind you, that wall behind him is a garbage dump. It's literally a dumpster.
Okay.
That's a concrete wall where, dumpster enclosures. That's
on the left side. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dumpster enclosure. That's all it is.
So this is just one of the wrestlers that you work with.
Yes. Okay. Each one of those on this was one of the wrestlers that I work with, and I told them literally it was, "Hey, I have this idea."
It's a great idea.
yeah, I have this idea, and he was like, "I'm in." I'm like, "Cool." So I grabbed most everybody, and let me click back over to it.
I'm jealous. I wish I was one of them people.
So
look at the shots.
So it's the same. It's the same. Like again, it's this. I don't know if this is an artistic approach. It's the half light, right?
Yeah, that was the point. Yeah, that was the whole point.
Okay,
I was
so did you have a new person just in the same sitting, and they just sat in the same light structure, and then
I literally told them, "This is don't pose. This is candid. Be yourself. Do whatever you want." I'd pose to no one. I just said, "People, sit, relax, do whatever you want. Pose however you want. I'll focus on you, and I'll do the rest." Like each person did their own thing. I directed no one. I showed nobody anything.
So I noticed with this one, you can kind of see. Well, go back on these last two shots. You see at the top on their brow line, there's some light. But go back to the last one. It's all the one before. It's all dark. It's like totally dark, right? There's no bridge right there. Like on the eye on that right side eye. Orbital, there's no light there. It's totally dark. But as you notice that on these other images, there's a little creep. That one, and then that one, it's even more creeping on the top of the orbital.
Just the angle slightly.
It's the angle. It's all the angle. Yeah. If you can see, there's a hat. It's his hat. That's actually his hat. He's got.
Okay.
Yep.
So, like I said, you see it like there. It's not. It's not totally siloed into like that's totally dark, that's totally light. There's a little bit of orbital, a little bit of eyebrow, a little bit of the top of their yeah.
I love that one.
That's great. Like he's got the so these are all your wrestlers, and you just sat them down and just said, "Hey, I want Oh, that one you get like, look at this mouth. You get the side of the mouth. It's like,
Yeah, because he's opened his mouth up like in a way.
Is it because they turn their head? Okay.
Realistically, this kid, you'll see him on TV in probably 2 years.
Okay.
The kid's 17 years old, and he is a monster in the ring.
So is this
you heard it here
Las
first,
Vegas
guys?
wrestling scene?
Yeah.
That's all this is. Okay.
Hang on. He has wrestled internationally as well. This is Jay Vidal. He wrestled for TNA for about 2 years.
He's got a real kind of like I want to say he's got almost Aboriginal or like New Zealander.
He's from Puerto Rico.
Okay, I was gonna say he looks like he's yeah.
He's wrestled internationally. That's Danny Limelight.
He's got an El Jefe kind of vibe to him. I'm feeling it.
Danny Limelight. He's wrestled internationally.
He's got a little
and that's the first one we saw. Yeah.
Dude, these are amazing. Like, I guess my question is, did you learn how this just on your own? Did you take classes? Did you
Sam, I've had a camera in my hand since I was 12.
Okay.
This is just me learning how to do this just through trial and error. And it's easier when it's digital because you don't burn up. I got 12 shots on a medium format. I got 12 chances to get this right.
Right. Okay.
This is what's beautiful about this, Sam.
I have 12 chances to get these shots, and this is all random here in Vegas. I have 12 chances to get this right.
These are just artistically amazing photography. Like,
I like this one a lot because of the leaning lines making X's down the middle from the reflections.
Right. I like the fact that it almost has like do you remember the old HCC building wallpapers that used to come out? It has that kind of vibe to it, the symmetry of the fact that I noticed that these are really bright lights, but they're not blown out. So is this something that you couldn't pull off on a phone because of the sensor?
No, this is just knowing how to expose a photo, bro.
Yeah, it's just about.
This is just knowing how to expose. So, like in this particular, I have my light meter with me at all times shooting on film because my camera's from 1961, I believe, is my serial number came back as. So it has no light meter. So I have to carry a light meter, or if I don't want to carry the big one, there's a light meter app on my phone that's spot on. It's perfect. I'll use that. So the light meter tells you if the ABC STO, like those lights are going to like blow out the photo, I guess is what it is. With a light meter, you tell it the speed of film you're using, which in this case, I was using a 160 ISO film. So it's for brighter days, sunny brighter days, right?
Okay. But this is pretty bright if you got everything.
No, this is actually very dark.
Right. Yeah, even with that light. Is pretty
you have to look at overall exposure in the entire frame. Yes, it's a hot spot, but I have to expose. I could expose for the lights, but I'd lose the people.
Yeah. Right.
I could expose for the people, but I would lose the lights. Would just be a white blob.
Would be
so it's more like a balancing, but you have to. It's finding. Okay.
That's what's special about this type of shot because it does take a lot of skill to.
ISO is kind of the sensitivity of when it came to film. It was the sensitivity of how many photons can hit the film and basically how sensitive to light the film was. The lower the ISO, it's less sensitive to light, so it takes more light to expose the film. Now,
right. So this picture was not a digital. This was put to a.
This is a scanned film. Everything in this post is a scanned physical film. This is all film. This is all film.
Oh, the gold nugget. I'm aware. Mm-hmm.
This is all film.
There is not. Oh, WC Steakhouse. Nice. White Castle. Feeling it. Oh. These are so great. So for the black and whites, do you do anything different, or is it just?
It's black and white film.
Oh, so you have specific film for black and white shots.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay. Okay.
It's black and white film. So shooting at with 160, you got to expose properly. So use your light meter to check a couple areas. It'll say, "Hey, hey, if you're shooting ISO 160, to expose this properly, you need to set your shutter speed to about 1/60th of a second. Like, oh, okay, 1/60th. But then if I want to get creative with that, that's when I start sliding those numbers, where 160 will expose it the way this way. It'll give me the perfect exposure, but I kind of want to underexpose this because I really want to bring the lights out. So I might shoot it at 1/30th of a second. So the lights will pop, but I'll still see some of the outlines of the people, but I don't want to expose the people properly. So on that particular shot, I actually saw what the light meter did, and I was like, I'm going to tweak it a little bit. So I tweaked a little bit, and I got that.
So really what is taking a shot, knowing what you want to try to do post shot, right? Adjusting. And then you have the baseline. Like, I took this shot. I know this is what the film I use, but I have some flexibility here where I can underexpose, make this shot darker and or lighter. Or do you do that after the shot? Like, before you take the shot, I know I apologize. I hate to use this phrase, but I'm gonna mess with it. I'm gonna adjust this.
Like, see, that's easier when it's digital. You can mess about more, but with film,
I already know what I want to do before I even take the picture. I already know this is the look I'm going for. I know my film stock, what my colors are going to look like in my film stock, which is also, when it comes to film, which changes how you expose as well. Different film stocks have different emulsions, which means different color combinations, the ways different colors look on certain films. There's some films where the reds pop and the blues are a little bit subdued, or vice versa. I have a film in my, mind you, okay, this is going to sound funny. I have film in my fridge.
I guess it has to stay cold. I guess
it just helps it. It slows the degradation process, keeping it cooler.
Yeah, because that was a trend to use out of date film.
Correct.
Well.
Yeah. Because of the light leaks and it does really crazy
things.
emulsions.
So I guess on this specific shot, you're looking at this and you're thinking, okay, did you know you were going to this position and taking the shot beforehand, or you got to this position, you're like looking at it and going, okay, I know I need to take this picture. However, I know post I'm going to mess with this. Like, did you know beforehand, or did you get to this shot?
There's no messing in post, Sam.
There's no post. There is no post.
There is no post.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is, did you know before you walked to this physical angle? Like, I know
he knew his
I'm
composition.
Take a picture of this, or you look at this through your lens, or you're looking at it just without a camera. You're looking at it going, oh shit, like this is the thing. Like, I'm gonna go and frame this out, and right.
I made that decision in less than 3 seconds.
And that is that because of your professionalism and experience in knowing, like, oh, I know this shot can really. I have some flexibility artistically in the shot.
Sam, it was, ooh, that looks cool. That's literally it. That looks cool.
Well, you have to understand, for a person like me who doesn't understand photography, that is phenomenal. Like, that's amazing. Sam, like, I see shit all the time. Like, I guess.
Do you ever just pull your phone out and go, that looks cool, and take the picture?
So, Sam, let me put it in perspective. You know the picture I sent you?
But Sam,
I don't go anywhere in that.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Not every time.
I'm doing the same thing at a higher level. It's the same process. I literally, like Jermaine just said, I just see it. I'm like, that's going to be a good picture. That's the photo I want. Let me work in the settings. Setting set, click.
Sam, you know the picture I sent you in the phonies group of my wife's cup and the shadow in the background? I thought that looked cool and just took a picture.
Right. And so I guess for people like me is because I don't see scenes like that. I guess that's why I guess I could hone that skill. I guess if I had training but I don't see the same thing. Look, I see it like, okay, that's cool. There's a bunch of people.
Because you're not looking at the world, Sam.
Clearly.
So I often describe this as like it's one of my superpowers. It's a side effect of ADHD. Is I don't look at things the same way a lot of people do. I don't experience things certain ways. There's sometimes I see things so far outside of the box when I'm taking a photo that I develop it or I upload it and edit it, and it's like I never noticed that. Some people are like, I never noticed that was there. I'm like, how can you not? like, it, like, what are you talking about? So I often forget that not everybody sees things the way I do. That's why I always take the picture. I see the picture. I don't hesitate. I just do it because I don't. I know I'm seeing this a certain way, and I guarantee 99 other people will walk by, and maybe one other person might see it.
Yeah, and
So I want to share that with the other 98 people.
But they still might see beauty in something else in that image, though.
Correct.
yeah, I asked because, and not because I'd like to think I'm not a moron, but I kind of feel like I just don't. When I see images or pictures, like I look at the pictures you take, and I go, and I have to like walk it back and go, oh, I see this picture, and I can go back and go, oh, I know why Scoop took this picture. Okay, it makes sense, but how did he get to this point, and why did he think that this was the shot? Like that part I can't get to, and I don't think I'll ever get to.
That's subjective.
We clearly.
That's to each photographer. Each person's art is subjective. I don't judge other people's. I mean, I'm friends with so many different wrestling photographers, and we're all the same. We don't judge each other's work based on what we saw. We may technically critique each other's work and compositionally critique each other's work, but subject matter doesn't matter to us because everyone sees the same scene differently. And you may have captured a part of the scene I didn't like, but you captured it well. So who gives a shit?
Right. So Jermaine's he asked me if I was a cop. I'm like, yeah. So when I took pictures, I did take pictures, but I was taking more of a picture for like I'm documenting this. This is where the person was. This is where the things were.
Documenting it.
Right. I'm documenting it. I'm really not thinking about it at an artistic level. So when I see you and Joe do things, or Manos or Jermaine do these things artistically, like I just have never had their artistic, like I don't have that. Like maybe I take a picture and you'll go, oh dude, you didn't realize you took this picture and this is awesome. And here's why. I'm like, I just took a picture. Like I have no clue what's happening. I don't see it from the artistic aspect, which is why I find it fascinating to watch people who are professional photographers do the things and see the things that they see. I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. So he said, so when you see someone being weird, you might feel like, yeah, something is wrong with that person. Something is right. Well, again, so that's an interesting point. So he says, when I see things, I go, oh, I know that person's like either like a criminal or some shit's like something's wrong with this image. Like something's wrong with this scene. But how does that communicate to an artistic shot of that same scene? Does that make sense? Like, it
sparked interest. It's caught our eyes. Like,
remember, for a police officer, you're like, okay, that doesn't fit because that doesn't look right, and that doesn't fit this scene.
It's the opposite. You're thinking about it too literal. It's the same intuition, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same intuition. Your intuition to see, hey, this isn't right, is the same intuition. I go, that's the shot.
Okay.
That's what he's trying to compare it to. If I quoted you wrong, Jermaine, I apologize.
No, I think you got him right.
No,
that's what I got from it.
I see it from a different angle, but we're both looking at the same scene. We're seeing it from two angles.
Yeah, right? You're looking at what's wrong. I'm looking at this is right. It's the same thing.
Why is that guy standing there? That's weird. If I were standing there, I wouldn't stand there. I would stand there. But you're like, oh, that guy's staying there because, and then it's like it's an artistic approach to the same scene we're looking at, but we're seeing it from two different lenses to pull a different. Okay. Wow.
But Sam, there's no wrong or right.
No, not right. Not at all.
Just go out and explore. I want you to do. This is your homework, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Just go out and take photos, because that's another thing. You might take 1,000 and you only like 1 or 2, but it's worth it for them 1 or 2.
So I guess my question is Scoop. So when you take photos of it when you're doing, do you look and go, oh no, No fucking way. Like, this is fail. Like, I don't, like, I understand it makes sense because you're taking photographs, you're taking like multiple shots. Have you taken ones you're like, look, I don't see the scene right at all. Like, you taking pictures, you look at them and you go, okay, this is not the approach.
All the time. All the time.
Yeah. That's not how I visioned it.
Oh, 100%. And I don't even have to say, I'm like, oh, that sucked.
Right, coming from you, so you have to have a lot of self-reflection, right? You're like, I took these photos, I'm like, this doesn't capture the scene that I witnessed.
But I also keep those because I actually build new presets off of my non-keepers. Like, if it's something close, but maybe the color, the exposure is right, but it wasn't exactly how I wanted the position of people, I'll keep those, and that's why I build a lot of my presets off. Is like, I'll edit my shows to be like, all right, cool, I know this works. This is what they're going to work for the websites and everything. Here you go. All right, I'm going to use this one to experiment. I don't want to experiment on those. They're done, man. So that's why I end up creating some of my
I love
favorite
how
colors.
Sam's trying to recreate your medium shots he did.
Like,
It's got a bit of darkness coming across.
Well, here's the thing. As a person who isn't a photography person, it's so fascinating to me to listen to. Like, I have no idea. Like, this last 30 minutes of conversation is so, like, eye-opening to me, even though I don't really understand it. From I couldn't do it. Like, if you said, hey, Sam, go out in here and do this thing and frame this, and like, I have no idea. But to listen to the fact that there's so much more out there, to the thought process behind the photography of taking the artistic shot, is really fascinating. I think it's phenomenal. I love this shit.
So like my portrait project I did, I was looking, like, I've been trying, like, there's a couple film stocks I want to shoot on really, really bad. They just both happen to be Fuji. One was Acros, because Acros is my favorite black and white emulsion look of all time. Thanks. And my other one is Portra, and that is all right, you're about to get another one, Sam. So
okay.
You've got a couple different types of film too. You've got negative film.
So that's opposite color.
Correct.
Is that negative? Okay.
And then you have positive slide film. So the image you take is the actual image that projects onto the film. Now, your exposures on positive slide film has to be absolutely perfect. If you're off at all, you lose the colors, you lose tones, it's gone. It becomes this washed out mess. But
alcohol for this shit. Okay.
But
Gotcha.
The colors, when you get them right, you
Bang.
can't digitally reproduce them. They're so good.
It just works.
They're just beautiful. The reds are rich, the blues are deep, the greens are vibrant.
Imagine the satisfaction, Sam, when you get
right. It. Right. When you hit it. Like, my question is, do you have an example of that, what you're describing right now? Because I get it. Like, you just know it's like, it like works, right? But
let me see if I can pull. I don't have any portrait yet. It's very hard to get. It's also really expensive, so I haven't really.
Well, yeah, I don't. Right, I just.
Just funny, Sam. Like, a lot of cameras have film simulations, so like Fuji have film simulations to try and recreate film.
Not portrait. Ektachrome is what I'm thinking. Not portrait.
Okay. So, like I said, so you mean even in some of these there's like subgenres or specialized versions of said film for said shots. Yeah, God,
Provia.
I have no idea. Oh, no wonder I just stayed in my current career field. I have no idea what's happening right now.
Obviously, things have changed a lot, Sam, with digital.
Right.
Oh
shit. Here's the thing. As far as I'm concerned, Scoop's work should be way higher than 1K or 10K. It's fantastic. I mean, some of the pictures I like to see him, and I'm not even in wrestling. I don't really, it's not like a thing I do, but just the pictures themselves are fantastic. I just look at them and go, dude, these are great. Like, I want to make wallpapers out of them.
Well, then portraits should be displayed somewhere.
Dude, they're so good. It's just like such great content.
My goal is to capture the beauty of violence, is what I always like to say.
Well, you know me.
I love that. The beauty of violence.
Yeah. Like, okay.
One more here. Share screen. This isn't Provia, but this is just this is the closest thing you're going to get to negative.
Okay.
On negative, you're going to get to that same. This was shot on Portra, Kodak's Portra.
Oh, it's so cool. So this obviously isn't the Eiffel Tower. It's in Vegas, right?
It's the Paris there in Vegas, yeah. So I'm actually this is actually from the stairs walking up to Caesar's Palace.
Nice.
I was walking and I saw what I liked about this was I had framing here from these trees.
Right. You get some like
from these trees, and then
right. You also got the like. I guess this is like a shelf, or this is like it's like concrete or something like that.
It's like part of a column. It kind of looked like it was leaning on the column. So
yeah, it's just. And I like the fact that it's out of focus. So is this what you would call bokeh, or is this something else?
No. It's just it's outside the focal plane. It's just outside of the focal plane.
Yeah.
I think I shot this at f8 because the sun was behind me, so I didn't have direct sunlight. But this was
f8. Obviously, going to let more light in than lower f-stop.
So if you have an f8, so do you have to worry about blur because of the it being open longer, so you can't move as much?
That's where you match the shutter speed. So at f8, I created the correct shutter speed to stop time basically. Because it was actually kind of windy this day. Today.
It's a triangle, Sam.
Yeah, it's called the exposure triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ISO, shutter speed, and
so every shot you have to take aperture. All those things have to kind of. So I guess in the triangle, there's obviously different spots in the triangle that you're trying to hit. It's like you want to be maybe shutter speed, maybe some blur, ISO, more light.
You have to. So shutter speed, of course, is the time the shutter's open. The longer the shutter's open, the more motion you're going to see.
Okay. Also light, right? And shutter
more light, more motion.
Okay.
So if you want a waterfall, you know them silky waterfalls.
Long exposure.
Do a long exposure on that to get that.
But you have to minimize the light at that point. So you go with a higher aperture, which means less light comes in.
Okay. And this is where ND filters come in, Sam.
Correct.
ND meaning like
neutral density.
Okay.
They're like sunglasses for your lens.
Yeah, sunglasses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that you can do that longer exposure, which is going to let loads of light in, but then you put the sunglasses on.
Okay, so basically, you can like a longer exposure. Is that like where you have like vehicles driving? Like if you're on a bridge and you have vehicles driving away from you, or like
you see the light trail,
you see the light trail. That would be
that's a longer exposure, correct?
Okay.
So where you balance the ND filters, the darker the ND, you can actually open up the aperture if you want to create more bokeh in a long exposure. That's what those neutral densities are for.
Okay. So in this case, what hardware did you have when you were walking, I guess, up a stair? When you took the shot, what hardware did you have? And did you just take the shot and then move it? Or you're like, okay, I know I need to take the shot, so I need to make sure that this aperture is this shutter speed is this ISO is this, and then I'm going to take the shot. Like this specific photograph, when you came up to, when you're looking at like, okay, this is the shot I want to take. What is going through your mind at that point to take this picture specifically?
I looked and I said, where's the sun? Cool.
Behind you, right? So the sun is behind you?
It was to my right, but behind the buildings because it was heading into later afternoon. So I was like, all right, I got it. I'm going to go about f8. There should be about 1/125th of a second. Let's double check my head with the light meter. Double check my head with the light meter. I'm like, yep, got it. Click.
Wow.
Full focus. Click. Yeah.
This is such an amazing photography. I guess I see these images all the time. I just don't think about taking pictures of it, and I don't have the exact hardware and or capability. But these are amazing, dude. Like this is so good.
And a lot of it guess and check, and then you double check yourself with the light meter before you pull the trigger, especially with using film. But if you, I always recommend people, if you're just getting into this and you've got your first mirrorless or you've got your first DSLR, it doesn't matter how old the camera is, if it can show you the exposure triangle on the screen, shoot it in auto for a minute. See how the camera exposes it.
Yeah.
Learn it that way. Because the camera goes, this is what I think it is. And if you look at it go, I don't like that. What about this don't I like?
Right. So you're like letting the camera decide what it decides the ISO and shutter speed and focal length.
So I'm glad you said that.
No,
That's what I'm doing.
Let it
with this.
decide, and you look at it and go, I think that's okay, but I can do better. Like I can adjust this more artistically.
Not even artistically, just you learn how to expose photos that way. Because sometimes these are some systems are very aggressive when it comes to that. Some are not very aggressive. Some underexpose like crazy. It's all about learning the craft through trial and error. It's easier on digital because it's cheaper.
Right, because you don't have to buy the film. You have to expose the film, develop the film, and
you can take a
I don't like this shot.
I drop a 256 gigabyte card, my A9 Mark II, and that's 5,000 chances to screw up, not 12.
Think about it, Sam. You could sit there. You might not have a clue. You could just take the shot in all different exposures, like change the aperture, change the. You could take loads.
All right, so you can go with darker, lighter, different focal lengths, and you can just like I got 1,000 chances. Like, but if you have film, you got 12. So you better get the shot right, because if not, you're going to be spending a shit ton in development and film.
You just spent $22 for this roll of film for 12 shots that you're not going to go pay $30 to get developed.
Wow,
so that potentially could be a $50 fuck up.
Yep.
I had no idea. So,
which is why I can't do film, Sam, because I'm not that level.
Right. Well, it's clearly obvious that, and I mean, like Scoops had, if he said since he was 12, so he's had like camera in his hand for like 85 years, 90 years, probably. So,
30 years, sir.
Okay, fine. But he's not as old.
I am only 42.
That's okay. I turned 50 this year, so hey, yeah, happy 2025 for me. So I just think this is amazing because, first of all, I've been a super fan of all your stuff. Like I follow you on Instagram. I love all this stuff, and thankfully you were able to come on. I know Sunday is a busy day for you, and so thanks.
Yeah, luckily we wrapped up early, and I'd started listening in the car, and then I got home and I started piddling around. I jumped back in, and then you were talking about cameras. I was like, wait a minute, let me help out. I got time.
Well, especially because like I'm not even gonna lie. Like I have no idea what I'm talking about. I just find it fascinating. So as a consumer of these great shots, and as a fan of your channel and as a fan of your content and Joe's content, and I see he's got these Fujiks, I'm like, okay, cool. So now Joe can do all the stuff, right? He just takes the pictures and it works out great, right? And it's just like, holy crap. It's so amazing. And so I appreciate you always coming on and jumping on and kind of explaining this, because for a novice or really a layman, I have no idea how these pictures are really set up. So
yeah, as someone that shoots on my A9 Mark II, everything is fast.
Right.
I shoot as a photojournalist, or I'm shooting action. It's all fast. Mach 5. I have this much time to get it right.
Right.
When I grab my medium format camera, I'm slow. Everything slows down. And all my knowledge I keep, I get to use it at my pace, at what I want to shoot. I get to set up the shots if I want to set them up. I get to tinker, and that's what's fun shooting on film, especially that film, because I was looking at one of the later Nikon, like the F3 and F4, where it's got the light meter built in and it's autofocus. That's fine. It's still film. It'll shoot a lot more like what I use now, to only on 35 millimeter instead of on memory cards. But I wanted a camera that was older than dirt, where I had to do it all.
All right.
I wanted to expose. I wanted to focus. I wanted to make sure my shutter speed was right. I wanted to be able to drag the shutter if I wanted to. So yeah, it's cool stuff. It is what it is.
Yeah. Like I say, I appreciate you coming on, like I said, last minute. And like I said, we always love your insight, and me and Joe, especially Joe, but we're fans of your content and your input, and we love you. Like I said,
Thank you. Thank you.
I like I said, and after today, listening to like you just describing stuff, because I've listened to your show and you talk about photography, but the level of depth of intensity and understanding and like the intelligence of the photography of it is like, I was fascinated. Like, I have no idea what really half the stuff you said, but I think it's like, oh man, this is really great. When you're around a professional when you hear those kind of discussions.
In my videos, I like to keep it I'm very lighthearted in my videos. I don't like to deep dive on stuff like that because number one, you just invite trolls and
right.
people who want to start overcorrecting you on things and
right. Well, that's okay.
It's fine, but I like these kind of conversations for stuff like this where live feedback. I can answer questions in the chat. I can have the conversations in real time, and people don't mistake context and connotation in what I've said in the video as, being flippant, or they don't understand what I was coming from. I can explain myself in real time.
Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, that's why when you said, hey, I want to jump on, I'm like, absolutely. We are going to have Scoop on because, one, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Joe is just kind of getting into it, and he's really,
I love it.
Dude, I think it's fascinating. Just listening to you explain it all, because like when I'm looking at this, I'm like, and I apologize if I sound like a novice and I ask questions like, but I'm like, I have no idea. Like when you're describing all these things that you do, like not necessarily the technical aspects, like, oh, I see this and I can do this, I can do ISO, I can do shutter speed, but just when you see a shot, does it just work? Like, okay, this is the shot I need to take. Or having everybody come on and all the wrestlers take like half dark images. Like, how do you think about that? That's the kind of stuff that I think is just fascinating.
So on the half profile, the half profile shots, you want to know where I got that from?
Is it another artist? I guess I've seen that before. It's not the first time I've seen like half dark, half light.
You want to know where I got that from?
No.
The original freaking Dracula movie. When he first pokes his head from the darkness, he's half lit.
Okay.
And I was like, that looks kind of menacing.
Right.
What the fuck you do without them being menaces? Let's make it not menacing. Let's make it.
Makes you think of Two-Face.
Well, especially like with wrestlers, because remember they're about that. It's still, even though it's wrestling,
and I wanted them.
Right?
I wanted them, but that's the thing that's where I put my spin on it. I didn't want them combative. I wanted them to be themselves.
Right. You just.
I wanted them. I wanted them.
Whatever face you want.
I didn't want them in character.
Right. You just want that person. The person behind the character.
I don't want the character name. I want your shoot name, as we call it. It's the real name. Like, you're not gonna. I don't want the Black Rose. I want AJ. Like,
right. So I guess my question is: Did you know that there was going to be some variance between like where the light showed up?
That was planned.
Okay, so you planned that, but why specifically with certain subjects and not other subjects? Is what I guess my question.
I was bored.
Okay, that's fair.
Hey, lean back a little bit, lean a little bit further forward. There, stay right there. Focus, click. Do whatever you want. Do not move from there. Just do whatever you want with your face.
So you did that on the fly, just like ad hoc, right? They're there. They sit there. Okay,
well,
so
here's what I think. I based on how they sat down.
Interesting. So sat down like
so. Hey, sit in the chair real quick. So they sit down on the chair, and if they leaned all the way back against the wall, I know it's going to get a light leak behind them because their head's back against the wall. There's nothing. There's no place for the light to go. That's where you get the more. That's where you got the more direct side shots.
Right.
Cool. If you're going to stay there, let me focus there. All right, do whatever you want.
So you didn't give them like, I need you to stand in this position and
Nope.
this posture, this forward.
I didn't want them to look that processed and perfect
Or manufactured, right?
I don't want them to look manufactured. That's why some are off center, some are really close, some you can see their full head and shoulder. It was all depending on how they sat.
And it all adds character. Sound like the. For
Well,
me,
yeah, that's what I noticed. But I'm like, but remember, you're the photographer, so you have, I guess, you have control over the scene, right? You know, especially if you have an agenda, not agenda. I don't take that the wrong way, but if you had like, I want these images to look a certain way,
then
you can drive that.
I would have directly driven them to where I wanted them.
Right, and so you just sit down, and wherever you sit, I'm just going to go with where that is and work with whatever that is.
I wanted the chaos.
That's the beauty of them for me. The fact that they aren't unique.
Perfect.
Right.
They aren't manufactured. Their characters are perfectly manufactured because they're trying to portray something on TV or in their matches. They're built to do that. I didn't want that because I knew their natural personalities would show through. When it's not manufactured, you sit down, chaotic, sit down, make whatever face you want. I don't care. Just wherever you feel comfortable, you stay right there. I'll focus and take the picture.
Here's a great question for you. So, did you know who would do what and how? Like, did you have an idea? Like, I know that this guy's probably going to do this, or this probably like. So, I guess you've worked with these people, right? Mm-hmm. So, did you have if I let this guy go or gal go, I kind of have an idea where they're going to kind of be. And did you see that? And did you see somebody like, oh, I thought you were going to do such. You sat forward and you sat this way, and like, you know what I mean? Do you think about that forward in the composition?
Not in this one. No,
okay,
no.
Sam, this was about them doing what they wanted to do on the spot.
I understand, but he knows these people. He's experienced them. He is like when I sat down with that 17-year-old, I knew he was going to kind of go like.
So there's a caveat to that. I deal with them in the ring where they have set motions, set moves, everything they do in the ring. I know what's coming there. I don't know a lot of these people in their personal lives, and I don't care to know. And that's fine. We're not friends. We're coworkers, which is perfectly fine.
That's why I was asking. Some of these people, I thought you may know them in a more of a personal, outside the ring space, and that's why I asked.
But it's yes and no. I don't seek out to know them. And that's not being rude. It's just there's some of these guys that they travel the world doing this, and they're on TV, and they already have these really tight structured lives. Hey, how's it going? Hey, you doing all right? That's fine for me. I don't care. I don't care to know how you're feeling at this moment. But when it comes to time to do work, we do work together, and then we go home. I'm going to be fair to you. I'm going to shoot you the way you want to be shot. I'm going to give you the best opportunity to look good, and I'm going to go home. So, God, this is such a fascinating conversation. So, I guess my question is you know who those people are or aren't, right? You have an idea because you work with them for a while. Yep.
Is it more like I know that you're presenting this persona necessarily? I'm going to respect that persona. And do you understand? Are you willing to push that persona and go, hey, I know this is what you present. I think you could really expand that or change that or do something different.
So I'll tell you what I think, Sam.
Only when they ask me.
I'll tell you what I think, Sam. I reckon Scoop could have picked 10 random people off the street and done this project with them and got what he wanted. Potentially.
Okay. Sure. I could have. But with them, I knew our level of trust, they would be more vulnerable and be themselves.
Yeah. That's the beautiful bit.
It's because
that's what Sam's trying to get to, I think.
Right. You have cultivated that level of trust and work ethic.
They know I don't want anything from them.
Yeah. Right. You're just I want to see what you
are
willing to give to me.
I don't want clout. I don't want money. I don't want attention from this.
Just wanted their faces.
This is something.
I just do it for love of the game.
this is something I had in my head and I want to get out. Are you willing to help me? Yeah. Okay, let's do it. What do I have to do? Sit here and we'll do whatever the fuck you want. I will do the rest.
So did some of them go like, I am not, like, I'm just going to present this persona. I don't give a shit what you want.
I didn't want anything though, Sam. I didn't want anything. I didn't.
I think he just wanted them to be themselves.
Be themselves. Sit down in this chair,
and he'll capture it.
Is that what you want to do? Cool. Click.
I'm going to capture it.
But realize that some of these people, if they don't know you as well as they don't know your approach, or they don't know your like I said, it's, most people do you know, but some of these people are like, yeah, he says do whatever you want to do. That's fine. But I guess I guess I'm trying to understand the instance of what you're trying to do. And some of these people, like they look like they were perfectly willing to do whatever. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna sit there. But I guess they all.
I think you're trying to overcomplicate it, Sam.
You're making this way more complicated than it really is.
You wanted to capture
down,
people.
Do something funny, and I'll take a picture. Or do whatever you want. I don't care if you want to be serious. If you want to give, I'm sexy. I don't care. Sit down. I'll take the picture. I'm lining in a certain way. Here's kind of an example. Oh, cool. That's it. Sam, that's it.
To be fair,
Sam, that's literally how the conversation. That's literally how the conversation went. Like there wasn't anything like. So I'm playing. I'm like, hey man, I'm doing it. I'm taking my people in wrestling that I enjoy being around. I'm taking your photo. I'm doing it on film. It's a passion project of mine. It's not for money. It's not for anything. I'm not selling it. I'm just doing it. Like, oh, okay.
Okay.
It's cool, isn't it? It's cool, Sam.
Sam, no, it's that simple. It literally is. That's all I did.
I know. Like I said, I'm just trying to. I just want to make sure that I understand it fully. Like I said, as a person who is not a photographer and doesn't know this situation, I just ask because clearly it's not because I don't trust you. I love the work you do.
Well, the fact Scoop was able to get them shots is down to his skill level.
Well, first of all, I think they're fantastic. Like every one of those images you show, I guess what it is I see the difference in the actual composition. I go, oh, why did that guy want this? And why did this lady want that? And I guess, and here's the thing. I'm not going to apologize for how I see it as a consumer because I want to know, I've got Scoop here. I've got people who are photographers. I'm asking questions like, hey, why did this person have a little bit more light than the other?
Well, that's what the whole point of photography, Sam, like to get people thinking and looking at the image and same thing with artists, right? Who create images, right? Or paintings, right? Like I don't have that same level of exposure. So I ask people like Scoop because he is so much more to me into the do what you want. I'm going to capture it. I'm not thinking about it. I'm just letting it rip as opposed to me who are more linear thinking people. So I just ask because I don't have any exposure to that. That's why I ask.
You want me to? I will give you the most bare bones simple answer. I always want to capture the image that gets the reaction. If you see an image and you gasp just like that, I've got you. I've got you. You're in. You're locked in. You're mine. You're on this ride now.
I'm on this ride. I see some of the pictures you post on your Instagram. And I'm like, wow, that's such a great image. And
you scroll. Whoa,
no,
that reaction right there is all I'm ever shooting for.
Well, here's the thing, Scoop. I don't scroll. I go, wow, whoa, okay. Like every image is like, to me, you have to understand it from a person who is a more linear, logical thinker, like I am. I see it and I go, every image makes me go, wow. Like, I want to know why. And there isn't always a why, but I would rather ask the creator and the subject.
But Scoop may never tell you.
But there's always a why. But in my art, you're supposed to figure out the why. I'm never going to tell you.
Yep.
I'm a little lazy.
But Sam, you can find your own why. That's the fun of it as well.
And here's the thing. What I do is sometimes I just look at the image. I go, oh, okay, like that's a thing, and I just have an image of it, and then I move on from that. Right? But some of them reach out to me like that first image you show with that the gentleman, I can't remember who it was. The first one you showed me, I'm like, wow, there's way more in that look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like it's that image spoke to me as opposed to the other 3 or 4 or 5 images, right?
but someone else might find that a different one speaks to them.
Well, I don't give a shit about what they think. I only care what I think. No,
That's true. That's fair enough.
I don't mean to be an asshole. I'm just saying, but remember,
no, it's fair enough.
Scoop he takes all the pictures. I get to decide what images speak to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mine. Right. And so when I see that, I go, hey, but then I go to him, I go, hey, did you think about what I thought about? Or I think that's what's great about the art is the fact that he may not have seen what I saw.
No.
But I see what I saw, and then some of them like, that's okay. But some of those like really speak to me. And the fact that he's willing to do these pictures is amazing.
So this one?
This is what Scoop's vision was.
This image is speaking to me. I don't know what about it is. I don't have no idea if it's the eye color or I have no idea. But when you show me this picture, I'm like, wow, this one is like amazing. Like I
think part of this is the eye contact is.
Yeah, he's looking right in the lens.
Right in the lens, yeah.
A little bit of a beard, and as you know, I have a little bit of a beard. I'm older, but he's got the jacket and then like underneath his chin, the shirt, like he's wearing a jacket on a shirt. Like why? He's got a hat on. Other people don't have a hat on. Why is this guy wearing a jacket with a t-shirt? Is it cold?
Yes,
like
it was freezing.
Right. so when I see it, but also just the fact that he's looking directly at your shot. Like, and it's totally half and half. Like it's like
you can see the light reflecting in his eye.
Right.
See all this right here?
Yeah. It's like what is that smoke?
Yeah, it is. He just hit his vape.
Oh, that's cool.
So my daughter's in the vape, but it's just like he's like set down, shot. Right. And I'm watching all this the entirety of the shot. And this one just like he looks like he's looking into my soul. That's what
he's right into the lens, isn't he? He's literally
right into the lens.
Focused in.
Right. And so that's why I asked Scoop, I was like, when you're taking these pictures, I realize that for you, it's just like, I'm taking a picture, but some of these have to resonate and some don't resonate. Not necessarily in a negative way, but just like this one to me was like, this guy is like dialed in. Like, I don't have no idea. Can't explain it. I just can't explain it. This is a great.
It's the focus.
It's the eye, yeah.
Right. All that.
Nailed focus on his eye.
Yeah.
And the fact that his eye is in a certain plane, it's even with this plane here in his hair, so this stays in perfect focus.
Right.
This
it's like right
out
there.
This is in the same focal plane. This is in the same focal plane.
So the focal planes are horizontal and not vertical? I guess my question.
They're 2 dimensions. It's like a sliding on the y-axis.
Right, but they can't slide this way?
Oh, it depends on towards the center of the lens. It depends on how parfocal the lens is, or if it's apofocal, the lens itself. Because lens glass shape can distort.
Because generally there's a focal point.
Right, I'm assuming it's right at his eye, but it looks to his left, looking at the shot to the left, you see his hair is kind of, it's out of focus and it's dark, but it's like the eye is like, that's the focal point. The eye, his iris is
pin sharp.
Yep.
Right.
It's like his eye and this section of hair here is in the same focal plane. It's a distance from the sensor, or from this case, the film. They're in the same kind of lines of longitude or latitude when it comes to the photos, and if you're looking 3 dimensions.
Holy crap!
I look at you have to look at 3-dimension things as like slices into 2 dimensions, right? Each dimension, as you get towards his eye, it's a different level of the focal plane. Out of focus. The lens is set to focus in this area. If he had moved forward, his eye would have been gone. If he moved backward, his eye would have been gone. It's literally perfect where he is. Yeah, I nailed that one.
So that's why Scoop's got, boom, this is the moment to take it.
Yes. Don't move. Click.
Yeah, don't you dare move.
I guess my question is: do you actually do you verbalize that? Like, hey, don't move.
Right.
You would have just clicked.
No, I literally said, hey, Damien, look here. Yeah, cool. Click.
Because
No.
he would have set up the focus for where he's sitting.
I had him in focus. He was like, "This is it." Click.
So now, do you generally show the subjects their picture to kind of show them?
Not with this one.
Okay. And when you say that and you laugh, my question is why? Is it?
This is on film.
This was film, Sam.
It's film. It's film. I didn't even see the picture until I got it scanned and delivered to me yesterday. Or
right.
before.
Oh, okay. So if you're shooting digital, you can show the person, hey, this.
Of course, yeah. It's real time. Yeah. Click.
If you film it like, hey, man, I have no idea where this is going to go. When I get to develop it, you're like, holy.
Oh,
shit.
I had an idea. I mean, I can visualize all this. Like I've done this so long. Like I had an idea. The viewfinder is pretty much what it's going to look like outside of the depth of field because the blue fight. Well, in this particular case, when we're shooting wide open, the viewfinder is always wide open. So I knew like the depth of everything, what it looked like. The tones and everything I didn't know, but I knew what the image was going to look like. I saw it, like focusing on it. But I can't convey that to the person because, well, they can't see that. They can't see themselves in the frame.
Right.
But
well, also it comes to the point where they have to trust you as well. You know what?
Yeah, hang on a second. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. No, take your time.
I've never seen you so fascinated on something. So
Well,
I'm loving this.
Yeah, it's because I have no idea. Like I just think pictures and like I see you take shots and Dan takes shots and Manos takes shots and Mac takes shots and they're fantastic. But really to kind of like unpack all like what is it when you see the like do you see these things? Do you not see these things? It's like, oh, I don't know. I just take what I think is good and I get the film. Oh,
All
there
right,
he is. Yeah, so
I went and got it so I could explain it a little bit better.
So let's. How do I? Oh, here we go. There we go. Show me like the thing.
Look at that.
That looks like an old. Is it like an old, like top down? I don't.
You said 61, didn't you? 61.
Yes. So you focus through that.
That's
So
your viewfinder.
Down at it. That's my viewfinder. I'm looking down and I'm
physically through a viewfinder.
Yeah, and then a magnifier to get tighter to get accurate focus.
That's using mirrors.
So I literally, when I focused that, I literally sat there and tinkered with my focus wheel like this, like over and over and over until I got it right.
That looks like an old. When I say old, it looks like a 50s or 60s.
It's 61.
1961, sir. This camera is from 19. This is the original Mamiya C220 from 1961, bro. Like this camera is older than you.
That's fine. That's fair. I am kind of old, but it is older than me. So you use that.
This is every one of those. Anytime you see me posting with a film stock, I have shot it on this camera, walking around Vegas.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's not a beautiful. It's memorizing.
Yeah.
Like, awesome.
Everything all those square photos, perfectly square photos.
Yeah.
I was talking about on film. This is what I used. I walked around with this.
What is happening right now? Like oh my
Sam. You think I'm kidding? Film goes there.
I'm not kidding. I can't imagine. I just can't. As a person who is novice to photography, I have no idea. I have no what to say. It's incredible.
So
to be fair, a novice wouldn't be using this.
No.
So that's why I'm sorry. I'm using that's 105 millimeter lens, by the way.
Sure.
It's. I love it because it makes me think, and when I think I make better photos. So.
Sure.
But yeah, this bad boy, I have looked for. Let's text me. I looked forever for this. I had been looking for one for a very long time, and they're all beat up. And I found this one. In amazing
it looks
condition.
like it's in really good condition.
It is in
phenomenal
condition. There's a little bit of dirt in the ground glass, but it's the ground glass. I don't care. It's not in the lens. Plus, this one actually, these two lenses, this one's actually got a replaceable lens system, so I can pop these two out and put a new one.
Oh, nice.
They still make lens systems for those cameras?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you see, like it's from '61. That like in most of the thing in like cars, they don't make. And you have to go really out of your way to find hardware or parts for a camera that's 55 to 60.
Oh no, the lenses are old too. They're kind of expensive. A couple of the lenses are actually more than what I paid for the body.
Have you heard of pinhole camera, Sam?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something I'd love to try.
I will say we are at 2 hours and 20 minutes, and this is the most awesome show we've ever done in the history of the MedTech project. So, and again, that really honestly has nothing to do with me and Joe. Well, Joe obviously is a photographer, but it's really having Scoop on Scoop. Kind of explaining these things and just like opening my eyes to a world that I had no idea existed. So, wow.
I've enjoyed this because I've never seen Sam so. He's always engaged.
There's something satisfying about this.
Yeah, it's just
something satisfying. Change my settings.
You just don't understand, Scoop. I like photography, but I have no idea, and I had no idea how deep the rabbit hole went. It's crazy.
Listen to the leaf shutter. Listen to it. Oh, that's sexy.
That's sexy. It's like mechanical. I love it. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's kind of like something.
Sam, this is something I've got to get used to, right? Because I've gone from my DSLR that's got a proper viewfinder. Because this is an adjustment for me. This is an EVF. This is an electronic viewfinder.
The one in the S5 is clean though.
It is clean, yeah. That's another reason why I chose this. But it is an adjustment. Sam, like going from a mirrored viewfinder.
So ready? You're ready to really get messed up on this, Sam?
Oh, sure. Why not? I'm already here. Why? I'm all in.
So when you're shooting from a waist level finder, you're shooting directly from the mirror. There's no prism to fix the image, so you're shooting everything mirrored backwards.
Well then, how do you know? Okay,
it's the same. It's the same framing. It's just mirrored, like you're shooting from the mirror.
Right, but still, even the mirror still has to. You still have to overcome the mirroring, right?
Yeah.
Is that just experience, or you just
think backwards in your composition?
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense because I can totally do that.
So, like when I'm looking through all the lights on their the left side of their face, right? In the photos. So when I was taking it, everything was on the right side. It doesn't matter if it's left or right. If the exposure's right, it's going to be right. So.
Yeah.
So I exposed for the left side of their face, so to reminding myself that it's going to be on the right hand side when I'm taking the picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's normal. Yeah, that nobody. Oh God. Oh, so it's mirrored on top of the. So you have to decide the shot, and then and the fact that most of these shots are completely.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's a passion project. Like,
dude, I got nothing. I think he just officially broke my fucking head. So it's like, I thought they were just like you're looking at. You didn't mention that until 2 minutes and 22 minutes. You're like, hey, oh, by the way, they're mirrored. Oh, that's cool because I can completely work through that. Like that's not a problem.
It makes you think about when you have to make adjustments. You move it to the right. Damn it, wrong way.
So yeah, I always do that. Like when I do this, I'm like,
right. I can just tell you that. I already knew how I felt about your composition and your work. After this last hour, I am like 100% bought into the Scoop level of photography. You're amazing, and I appreciate that you take your time first of all, this is an hour you're never going to get back in your life, by the way. So you have to spend it with Joe and I. But the fact that it's just like there was so much more to this, like not only from an artistic but a technical perspective, like backwards, reverse, all the things that like
don't even get me started on the fact that I've got Lomachrome purple sitting in my fridge right now, which is a film that takes greens and turns them purples. So if I'm composing for those, I have to think about that as well.
So I guess why would you compose for purple? Is it purple images or purple shots? Like
everything that's green in the photo will be purple. So if I'm looking at something and I want to do, I'm shooting this very artistically. I have to look at this scene and go, okay, what's going to be false colored on this scene? Hey, it's cool. I want to surround this person with all this greenery, or I want to shoot these palm trees with this person because I want those greens. I want the greens to look real purple, and I want the sky to kind of magenta out.
So I guess my question is that for you, or do people ask for that green to? I guess my question.
It's just
is it for you or is it for that?
It's just a special film.
Okay, and can you go different colors like green to? It doesn't have to be magenta or purple.
It has to. It depends. Orange? You got to remember the film stock will determine that. So you'd have to buy the specific film stock for what you're trying to do.
So you knew you were going to want to go to a magenta hue.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And do subjects know that they are going to be taking pictures with them if they're in the shot, or would that be more for just for like scenes?
It's both. It's for whatever the hell I want. It's photography. It's whatever you want it to be, Sam.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
If I was like, hey, you're wearing a lot of green. Want to take some crazy shit? Oh, well, let's go take some crazy shit. Like, it just depends. It's whatever.
Well, I think it's fascinating. And like I said, I just appreciate you taking time to come on, and we obviously will have you on again at some point. I know Sundays are not good.
Saturdays work great for me because I don't work Saturdays.
Okay. We will do a Saturday show just for Scoop, and we will come on, and we're gonna expand this because Joe definitely does. I'm just doing it because I'm just a novice trying to learn, and I like this last hour has really just opened my mind to like how much I don't know about photography. That's all, and it's not because I want to be. I just want to understand where you're coming from when I look at your pictures and I look at what you post, I go, I have a better understanding of where Scoop's coming from. I may not understand, but at least I know the subjects and what he's trying to do as an artist. And that's what I really I appreciate.
And some of my photo walks, I just literally just grab my camera and show up.
Yeah, and that's what everybody else does. So like when Manos takes his street views and he's taking pictures of people, he has no idea what's like people walking by. This vehicle's here, this train is here, this lighting is here. I just see something and go.
It's even more basic than that for me, Sam. I just show up and I'm like, oh, I'm shooting neon signs today. Click, 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 click.
Yeah. Like you have no idea. Like when you go there, you just let the scene.
Unless, like if I'm going down with this, that's that. When I'm going down with that, that's pretty much what it is. But if I'm going down with like my Sony, if I'm going like to Fremont with my Sony, 9 times out of 10, a band's like, hey, we need to come get some shots. I know I'm there to shoot a band. I'm already in that mode. I know what I'm doing. I've already got my setup. I got my lenses. We're going there to work. Let's go.
Yeah. And I guess my question is the bands you shoot. Do you tell them they're shooting them? Hey, I took these pictures of you. I'm not offering like money. I just here's the shots. Here's what I took. Or do you keep
depends on the band. Like I have a couple bands that I'm cool with. I'm like, hey, I'll be down there in Fremont. I'll slide you guys some shots, and I'll just take them and send them to them. I don't care.
Oh wow. Okay, and they seem to be pretty receptive to that for the most part.
Very.
Really?
Yeah. Because they don't often get pro level photography to just shoot
free.
them for
right.
free.
Well, and here's the thing: they're not getting anything for free because you haven't given it to them necessarily, but you just took the pictures and said, "Hey, I have these shots," and you're doing it because you just like the band, or you like the venue, or
I'm doing it because they tag at the Biotic Scoop and people reach out to me. Sometimes exposure's fine. Okay. I'm okay with exposure in certain aspects. Another time, shut up and pay me, depending on what we're working on here. Like,
that's fair. See? Well, hopefully, if I'm ever in the Las Vegas area and you want to take some like really cool pictures of me, they won't matter because
Sam, Scoop knows exposure.
He knows more.
See what I did there?
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done, Joe. Well done. I like that.
That's okay. Yeah, you know what? That's why I keep Joe around. He's the smart guy around here. I'm just like
I think so.
I just drive the narrative. So, anyways, we're at 2 hours 28 minutes. We're on like 2.5 hours. Scoop, thank you so much for kind of coming on and kind of explaining
thank
this.
you
And
very
like
much.
I said, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know about Joe, but I am a super fan. I love your work. I think it's great. Follow the Bionic Scoop on Instagram, at least if you want to. And I know you have other. Do you have other? Like I know you have like a video.
Am everywhere as the Bionic
Oh,
Scoop.
right.
If you look up the Bionic Scoop on pretty much any social media, you're going to find me because I was smart and locked them up as quickly as possible. I'm even on that weird right wing one. Like I'm like
Truth Social? Are you on Truth Social?
I'm on Truth Social just because I wanted to have it. So just
you should be on.
I don't even.
Truth Social. What's the left wing one? Is
I
that,
don't even
the
go.
Blue Sky?
I don't even Sam. I don't even go there. I just new one at the Bionic Scoop. Got my account. Don't post anything. I don't even think I set up the account. Like I just wanted it because I don't want.
Frankly, I take the pictures. He loves the pictures. I take the pictures. Scoop is
He has to get it in somehow.
Right, I have to do it. So the fact that he's on Truth Social and then Blue Sky, Scoop is all the things, and it's the Bionic Scoop. And we will try to push as much people as we can, but most people who watch the show are familiar with their work. So thank you for coming on. And
just follow my work. Push it out there when you see it. If you like it, share it. I do it because I love it. The money is kind of extra and cool, nice. Because I work a full-time job. I work 60+ hours a week. Plus, I'm doing this. So this is the photo side is fun money for me. So I don't mind. I was like, I don't have exposure. I'm like, I will always push my guys that I know are doing this full time to make a living. I will send work to them every time.
Right.
Hey, talk to this guy. He's doing this for a living. I just happen to be good at it and do it because I can. These guys are trying to put food on their table. I will always give them the work first. And they want me ringside. Can you shoot up high? I'm like, yeah, I got you, dude. I don't care. I'll go to the controls. I'll jump in hard cam. I don't care.
Yeah, your level of understanding and artistic level and of photography is fantastic, and we love you. And me and Joe are fans as always. And thank you for coming on our show and dropping in. And you will always have a place here. And we love you. And for Joe and I, we are going to end the show after 2 hours and 30 minutes. We are. It's actually, you know what? This last hour and a half has been phenomenal, and thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Welcome, fellas.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome. So for myself, for Joe, for Scoop, thank you for coming on the Nomad Tech Project. I know it's a little long. If you're listening to this audio podcast, this one, if you were into the tech stuff, cool. You stop it at like 1 hour and 5 minutes. If you're into photography, you better get on board with this last hour and a half.
We've been talking tech within photography.
No, Scoop is spitting facts, and also for folks like me who don't understand all the nuances and all that stuff, I ask as a general enthusiast, but also learning from professionals and experts and SMEs. So I love you. So thanks so much for coming on board, and thank you so much for jumping on, Scoop, and appreciate you, sir. See you soon. And if you want to come on the show, just let us know. And if you have some time, we'll make a Saturday show. We're okay with that, and we will accommodate your schedule. Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, Joe, anything else, sir?
Yep. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Remember, skin your shit.
Skin your shit.
Fuck yourselves, and we'll see you on the next show next Sunday on the Nomad Ted Project with Scam and Joe. Thanks, Scoop. Appreciate you, sir. Love you guys.
Fellas.
Bye-bye.